Just let them speak.
You can demonstrate. You can prove it. When you manipulate heat, water boils.
Science can't prove things. Science cannot prove anything. How would it ever do that? Think about it. If no matter what you try and prove, and these guys, I heard them say the other day, oh, science proof is that the water boils at 100 degrees. That's not proof of anything. I wanted to go to Wits it, gets it.
You can demonstrate. You can prove it. When you manipulate heat, water boils.
Science proof is that the water boils at 100 degrees. That's not proof of anything. Wits it, gets it.
You can demonstrate. You can prove it. When you manipulate heat, water boils.
Science can't prove things. Now listen carefully.
I think you can find a scientifically valid method that can validate the ether, but it doesn't exist. I think you can find a scientifically valid method that can validate the ether, but it doesn't exist.
What the hell did you just say?
I think you can find a scientifically valid method that can validate the ether, but it doesn't exist.
Oh, yeah!
I think you can find a scientifically valid method that can validate the ether, but it doesn't exist.
Are you serious?
Now listen carefully.
What science has known for, hundreds of years, and that is the existence of the ether.
Science cannot prove anything. How would it ever do that?
Experiments prove that the ether is actually there.
Science cannot prove anything. How would it ever do that?
Experiments prove that the ether is actually there.
That's how you know you're being scammed.
Prove that the ether.
You know science doesn't prove anything, right?
On the subject of apologies, there's only one apology, and that's to Nathan for calling him a scammer. The rest, it is fair game. Even calling me a flat earth homo, it's fair enough. I've been called worse. You know what I mean? I'm not bothered about it. The only apology due is that, because that's the thing that's out of order. It's dishonest, and he knows it.
He won't be able to do it. You can't retract that now. You hear that, jabroni? That's your pride fucking with you, you Dunning-Kruger muppet. How's that hypothesis working out for you? You don't even know what one is, do you? Yeah, we heard it. Tacitly, you're fucking clueless. Thanks. Welcome to the show, guys. Keep on chugling, baby. If you'd like to support this channel, there are PayPal and Patreon links in the info box below. Got a great one lined up for you today, as far as you know. The beautiful Betty Van Velsen in Gilded. Say hello.
Yep, present.
Yep, it's not hello. Oh, we were going over that yesterday, too, because you corrected my hellos.
Yeah, it's an American or English hello, but we in Dutchland say hallo instead.
So,
hello.
In Dutch, it's hello. In England, it's hello, hello, hello. And with the righteous Americans, it's hello.
Not hello in England, it's hello, hello in France.
Is it? Well, let's listen to Adam. See, he wasn't privy to this discussion. It's probably going to be the most poignant discussion we have today. How do you say hello, Adam?
Shut up then.
That's an interesting. My accent came up this week. So I'm from the Midlands, and what you probably notice in my accent is we drop our H's. Yeah, there. So I'd say hello, hello.
See, Betty, I was right.
There would, there'd be no enunciation of the H. Similar to what Betty referred to, which is one of Britain's greatest exports. But that's more. You need to say that. You need to say that hello, hello, don't you?
Yeah.
Pioneer.
Well, we say in Dutch, we say hallo, hallo instead of hello, hello.
Oh, brother.
I think that is an adoption of the European, isn't it? Because I think it was taken up for telephones. Because I think the British initially said ahoy, ahoy.
Oh God.
And I think they probably took up hello, hello because of how mildly camp that sounds when you answer the telephone.
That was a blast from the past, wasn't it, Betty?
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah, that
Do
caught
we
your.
still have a slide with that guy in it?
I think so.
Aloha.
Aloha. He didn't do aloha.
Aloha. Well, sort of a combination.
No, he did. Here's it. This is what he
Ahoy,
did.
hoy.
Ahoy, hoy.
Well, that's playing a walk, isn't it?
Yeah.
I know what. Yeah.
Yeah, I was right to say it was slightly camp then, wasn't I?
Where's that numpty from? He's from. Isn't he from New Zealand or some shit?
Yes, I think. Oh, was a young guy, wasn't he?
He's a stupid
Still
guy.
wet behind the ears.
Wet behind the ears. There's nothing behind the ears or in between them.
We have a saying in Holland where if someone is really young and they are like very out there, but he's very wet behind the ears. in other words, don't mind him. He just came out of the womb basically.
The young buck, naive, Betty.
He needs to dry up a little.
Speaking of dried up, are those damn 3 blind mice still out here?
Maybe they did an experiment with jabs. What of the 8?
Experiment with the
3
jabs.
of the 8.
What the hell are you talking about?
Well, there's a new booster out, which is
A rooster booster.
tested on 8 mice.
Oh, I get the connection. Okay, sorry, bit slow today.
But all the mice died, by the way.
Did they?
Yeah.
All the knockout mice died.
Yep.
Remember that?
Oh yeah. Well, there you go.
That was an old presentation right there. The blood clotting cascade. Wow. That as soon as you said that, the knockout mice came to mind. That is wow. What did I do that in response to? Was that that had to be connected to the evotards, right?
Maybe we should do a sort of reminisce show or something. Get some of the oldies back in and see what they said and see if it still applies.
That had see if it still flies. Thanks, buddy. Let's the oldest one. The oldest one definitely is debunking the CMB and Redshift. That's really old. The coagulation cascade, blood clotting cascade. That's right there. They were real close together, I think. But yeah.
Yeah, but the thing is, you did rather do the flat Earth related stuff than the in the sense of going towards the evolution creationism debate. Right?
Yeah, that's sort of. We'll get to you, Adam, in a second. That still comes up every now and again. It wasn't that long ago where I whipped the evotards around by the short hairs, or was it?
Yeah, well, I think they get largely a free pass with you now.
A free pass? What?
Yeah, they're still out there, and you're not attacking them.
Yeah, they're like a splinter group at this point, I
A
think.
splinter group. It's half the, well, it's like 90% of the population are evotards now.
No way. Let me see those stats.
Oh, come on. That's true.
You just made that up.
People get indoctrinated by the whole like documentaries on every time you see a bird flying and they say, okay, that was used to be a dinosaur.
I thought you were going to say chicken. I thought you were going to say. I thought you were going to say it used to be a chicken.
What?
You mother clucker.
Chicken? A chicken. Oh.
Duck you.
Shut the duck up.
That's an inside joke, folks. Yeah, but okay. So you're saying that for the most part, that all baltards are evotards.
Well, you usually see that combination, yes.
Except for the Christian baltards. But a lot of them are still evotards, though, right?
Yeah, because they believe in the God of the Gap still, right?
Theistic evolutionists. I'd have to take a shower every time I'd talk to one of those guys.
Why is that?
Theistic evolutionists. Well, they believe in God, but they think he used evolution to create. That's why.
Yeah, but you didn't explain the shower part. I mean, does it rub off on you, or
yeah,
do you get a color from it, or rash,
feels,
or what?
Well, if you stop rambling, I'll tell you.
In hives.
Go ahead, finish your rambling.
I was giving some kind of like a list of diseases that you might could get from it.
Not a disease, it's just dirty. I felt dirty after talking. Not even after talking to them. As soon as I seen they were theistic evolutionists, I said, oh, God, get me in the shower. Hey.
Hey, Neil.
Hey, Joe.
Pesci?
Yep.
Where you going with that gun in your hand?
Isn't that a song?
Well, you said, hey, Joe, and I finished it.
Yeah, that is Hey, Joe. Yeah, I was thinking Joe Pesci. Sorry, a little slow on the uptake right now. Where's those three?
I was a little slow, too. I didn't even get that.
Oh, brother. So the three blind mice are still running around out there with their heads cut off. Is that what you all are saying?
Can I say something to that? They did not hear when you said, get the F out! You relieved the duty.
Get to the numpty killing already. So they didn't listen to that, so they're walking around with their heads chopped off, so they whistle past the graveyard, right? You guys are through, you boneheads. Still bringing out boiling water, I see. A couple people told me that you guys did your wiki Google. You let your wiki Google fingers do the talking again. Fucking clowns. Am I right? Hello?
I have no idea.
Come on, you can join in.
100% right. 100% correct. They're not listening, and they're still around.
So their dumbass subscribers are listening to them. They still got subscribers. I'm shocked. They have to be dumber than they are at this point. I mean, that the last 3 QE lives and Ballbusters it's been a thrashing of epic proportions. I don't think I've ever dealt even the evolutionists that type of blow. Maybe individually.
They think he's.
Go ahead.
They think he's an intellectual. They think Whitsitt is a very intellectual person, and he reasons things, and he uses his wits, and he's well researched. Yeah,
well researched. What the hell?
Yep.
Can you bring up one where he's well researched? That's what I thought. Oh,
he said he looked into peer review.
Oh, that was freaking hilarious. Peer review. Like, he had no idea what they have no idea what peer review is. It's almost like baller-esque. Because I had to go over that about 20, 30, 50 times. I still don't think the Baltars know what peer review is. Most of the general public doesn't know what it is. That's for sure. I know that.
I was just gonna say, well, let's be fair. I didn't know what anything was until I joined the Flat Earth debate and started getting a little education on all this stuff through you guys. So, you know.
How long have I been teaching on that, Betty? On peer review? How many times do you think I brought that up in a presentation? What would you say?
I would be a liar if I knew the exact amount. So.
Do you think it's over 5 times?
Over what?
5?
Yeah.
Oh,
definitely.
Me too. So if you've been along the way and you watch my presentations and you have a question on what peer review, you need to do what the 3 blind mice should do. Right? There's no excuse for that. Following? Can you guys hear me knocking? Can you hear that?
Yeah.
Okay.
We do.
Yes.
Sorry about
It's
that.
very annoying.
Sorry about that. I was just sitting there. I'm feeling it.
Well, then don't stop knocking the hands on the table for crying out loud if you're feeling it.
I thought you were going to go another
Not doing it
direction.
Too harshly.
I thought you were going another direction. I was getting ready to cut you off. Because after I said it, I said, "Oh, shit." So, okay, my mind, see, I'm anticipating going in the gutter. So I guess I'm guilty this time.
See, that's all you, not me.
That's true. That you caught me this time. Yep, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
Okay, so why are the 3 blind mice still out here? That's the question.
Pride.
Pride.
Because they're just speculating.
Oh, the wandering, opinionated speculations.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
it's going to come down to you having a debate, but it's going to cost somebody 15 grand.
A debate.
The other 2 that you said there for nothing, they won't even enter the door for a debate.
A debate. It's going to come down to a debate. The debate's already over. What are you talking about?
No, I'm talking
10 grand.
about
15
him
grand.
personally.
Name the point of contention that he will be debating about.
I understand what you're saying, John, but they're not understanding it. What's going to have to happen is Chewy's going to have to do this live in front of an audience and just annihilate them. Then maybe people will understand.
That will never happen.
Yeah, I don't think they would get it even if he did that.
No,
If people want to believe something, they're going to believe it.
It wouldn't help if they got it. Even if that was the case with Jaron and Bob. Well, number one, that ain't going to happen because Bob's not as dumb as he looks and Jaron ain't getting anywhere in the friggin' galactic vicinity. Even if that did happen, I mean, it would be over pretty quick. So it would devolve really fast. You follow? Because they're just going to friggin' shit all over the chessboard. Quick. Because that's the only way
you
out.
said, hold on, you said that they would have to have some sort of a science background or acumen, right? So
No.
who would it be
No, I said the
that
moderator.
could do the debate? Right, the moderator. So who would be one that can do it?
Adam Meakin.
No, they wouldn't let Adam do that.
Yeah, they say he's on our side, because they think they're sides still.
Yeah.
And victories,
That's a really good
I don't
question. Go ahead.
I
Go
don't
ahead,
know.
Adam.
Respectfully, I don't think there's anybody probably better positioned that. I've had a few accusations of being dishonest from Witsit, so maybe not, but I would hope in all the years I've been here, I've shown to have integrity, and in my behaviour in this, I've not really taken it to any personal level. All I've ever done, and what I'm going to show tonight is all I'll ever do is assess an argument and give my honest opinion. Whether that would be sufficient,
No.
I don't know, because I think if I'm praising myself and sitting outside of it, unfortunately, they know my position. And that would be the issue, I think, to have somebody that's neutral in this position would be very difficult to find. It would be.
What about Robert Bressano?
Brilliant. Well done. It'd be after 9 o'clock then, wouldn't it?
No. That ain't going to work.
Yeah, can you imagine Robert Bressano with the power to tell QE to shut up and he has to? It's never going to happen, is it, that moment? He'd milk that for all it's worth.
Well, he doesn't have the science or logic acumen. Nope. That wouldn't work.
And he curses too much.
Yeah, I'm trying to find somebody neutral, but it's hard to find somebody neutral that has any acumen in science.
John D. Dr. John D.
Ooh, that's a good one.
I don't think so.
No, because he doesn't agree with any of you. And that's the beautiful point.
It's a debate on its own.
Well,
yeah, exactly. But then, and if he's not there to present his opinion, then he's just there to arbitrate on whether or not that was of merit or within method, etc., or whether it was fallacy.
What about Betty?
Now, his science acumen. Now, let's not jump. His science and logic acumen won't cut the mustard. There's
no one that it's going to satisfy Europe.
Just being honest.
Standards.
It's not going to satisfy.
Yeah, I know, but
holy shit.
What do you want, Brian Cox?
Did I say that?
No.
I'm giving my reason.
No, I said there's no one that will meet.
God.
You're not. Who are you going to find? You say it.
I can't because I'm not going to be setting it up. It's their responsibility. Remember, I told them, right? I said it's their choice of moderator, so I don't have anything to do with it.
You're not asked.
They're not going to ask. What are you, high? You drank it
Can't
again.
be asked.
Oh, I said, so you're not, okay, let me alliterate it. So you are not bothered who they choose as moderator, or you are?
Well, I'm going to take the moderator to the woodshed first. Because I'm going to test. Because Betty's laughing.
Poor guy.
Then I definitely want to be the moderator.
Oh my God.
Bring it on.
Betty wasn't ready for that. I could tell because it came out her nose.
That's so funny. I literally see somebody grabbed by the neck hairs and being dragged to the woodshed.
Short hairs?
Short hairs in the back of the neck, you know?
Yeah.
Or if they are hillbillies, maybe it might be matted down there. And then
A question for Neil. What would a debate prove?
Nothing.
And what would its purpose be, Jenny? I know John's trying to answer, but realistically, what is there to debate?
Nothing. Go ahead, Neil.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They got to be exposed. That's all there is to it.
They already are exposed.
I mean, listen, they're nitpicking about, this is what they're saying, that you wait for 2 weeks to put a video together, you know? So maybe they need it done.
What the hell kind of
one-on-one.
answers? What the hell kind? Number one, that's not true. Number two, why am I getting no data? Oh, there it popped on. Excellent connection. Number two, what does that have to do with anything? What the Neil, you getting Jedi
Listen,
mind?
do you know? Hold on a second. Yeah, I'm gonna. All right, here it is. It's what Eli said the other day, and I don't usually agree with him, but in this case, it's like meet me down the corner because there needs to be a fight. Even though the kid's got glasses and he's crippled, then he'll get beat up. But maybe the public needs to see it.
They're already saying it.
I'm done.
Now, what was I going to say? Oh, you know what? I left something out of that moderator. And I was kicking myself after I heard it again. I said, there's one really important thing. And everyone's going to say, oh, yeah. The moderator has to be engaged. That is not fiddling around, not playing grab ass, not doing other things, actually active. You know, not in the, he has to be paying attention. Follow?
How about someone from 24/7? They did that once in a while.
Ooh.
What about Miggy?
List the fallacies.
No, I don't. For number one, I don't think Mickey would do it. Indio.
Yeah, India.
If there would be one person now that you said 24/7, if it was my choice and it's not, they would probably they wouldn't do that. Even though I don't know where Indio's position is in this whole thing. I've just heard little fits and spurts. But they won't. They're not going to do that. They can't have a moderator with any science or logic acumen because they're going to get stopped. So they can't. They got to have I'm telling you, it's going to have to be a piece of meat. It has to be. I'll guarantee it. I'm serious.
What is the point of contention? I don't get the point of contention that they're wanting to debate over.
I don't know. You're going to have to ask them. I have no idea. Anyone got a clue? Water boiling is definitely not it.
It's going to be on a double slit.
Hold on. Get the fuck out of double slit. Betty.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you hear that? I don't know. You probably didn't listen to the whole thing because it was over 3 hours long. It was really long. But that numpty friggin' idiot, Witsit, said that I'm going to paraphrase, but you get the idea, that we're just pretending that the hypothesis was heat causes water to boil. So as soon as he said that, it brought me back to that day, right? Many, many, many moons ago, when you brought that subject up to me and you said, I can remember it very clearly. And you said you were getting badgered by a few people. And you said, all right, what's the hypothesis, Kiwi? Right? So I know
because people, you had a list. You had basically a list that you used that was sort of things that were proven by the scientific method. And waterboarding was on that list. And people were attacking me because I used that list too, after sort of trying to emulate the way you answer posts on YouTube and that sort of stuff.
Right.
And I got attacked for it, and I thought, okay, yeah. So what do I do? I need to prove this.
Right. And you said, what's the hypothesis? Right?
Yep.
There you go. So there wasn't any pretending, you friggin' clowns. So way back in the day.
I remember that we didn't look at the peer review of it.
Yeah, you can remember we didn't peer review it, right?
No.
So, but I'd have to go back and look. It was so long ago. And I might have had that just with water boiling. I can't remember. I've got so much stuff I can't remember. Was it just water boiling? If it was just water boiling at 100 degrees at Celsius at 1 atmosphere of pressure, if that was the only thing that was on there back then that was my mistake, right? Then it wasn't an actual hypothesis. Was that the case, Betty? It's been so long I can't remember.
You just made a list. There was not that you really proposed a whole hypothesis on everything. It was just the things, just a list of things that were proven by that scientific method.
By science, right? It was the 10 points or something.
Mm-hmm.
There was no hypothesis in there. I like I said, I can't remember. It possibly could have been, but the actual issue was 5 or 6 years ago. As she came to me, I can remember today, because the Baltards had all kind of problems with that. They were stumbling all over it, right? And I remember saying, "Well, heat causes water to boil," And that sent a few ballers off the deep end. I remember that.
Sent Witzer off the deep end too, because he sent a screenshot of that and said there's a problem with the phrasing.
Well, the thing is you stated them as facts established through experiment. You didn't say what the hypothesis was.
I can't, like I said, I can't remember.
Yeah, but it was never asked.
What do you mean it was never asked?
In those days, when you said it as a list attached to your arguments that you already posted in the whole replies, nobody ever went over the list and said anything about it. They never challenged you personally.
Right.
In those days.
Right.
Never. And they did when I came out with the same list and said, well, yeah, but your QE is using this list, and what's the hypothesis for this? And I got hit by it.
Yeah, you got hit by it. That's right. That's what I remember.
But isn't that obvious though? With water boiling, what else is it going to be?
I think if I'm being understanding, QE, are you asking back in the day, did you naively write water boils at 100 degrees at 1 atmosphere, or heat causes water to boil up?
I can't remember.
Is that what you're asking?
No, I can't remember. There's two separate things. There was hypotheses examples, and then there was another list of 10 that I had with things that scientists have proved.
Yeah, something like
well,
that.
then that's just as acceptable a get out. 10 things scientists have proved. That's, you're going to then use a sentence to describe it, not use hypotheses. So you're all right.
Now, I'm not trying. There's no covering on my ass here. I just can't remember.
I'm not covering your ass. I was hoping to jump on it, but no, that's a perfectly good get out. If you've subtitled it like that, then unfortunately it's not held to the same standard as this is a hypothesis.
I can't remember.
It seems like majoring on the minors to me.
It is, but that's where we're at.
It appears to be where we've gone. Away from... See, this is the point. We're now at water boils at 100 degrees, as if that's relevant to the first point, that science doesn't prove anything, and more fundamentally that Nathan is a scammer. And by association, so are we. They're the points we need to stick at and that need addressing, either apologizing for or rebutting, and show that we are scammers, most fundamentally. That's where we're at, or show that science doesn't prove anything.
Well, then that would be the contentious point.
Well, hold on. You got to agree on that.
No,
lying is bad.
We've headed down the point of a path of rebuttal, as far as I can see, where show that science doesn't prove anything. We've been presented claims that show that that's not the case. And for me, that's where I'd sooner deal with it. You talked about having a fight. I don't need to have a fight. These guys are punching themselves in the head when they present stuff.
Well, wouldn't that be the contentious point, though? Is if science proves things, like, I don't even know how that's going to work in a debate. That's like the dumbest thing I've ever heard, but would be the point to debate.
What, that science proves things is the dumbest thing you ever heard?
No, to debate whether it does.
Oh, I got you. I'm tracking with you. Yeah. Well, we're at that point, right? Well, we've been at that point for a while now. I know it beggars belief, but we seem to have focused on the water boiling, not the actual hypothesis IVDV, but the second half, the centigrade Celsius system. They've seemed to have focused dead in on that and forgot their other train wrecks, like vitamin C and the sunlight fiasco. That's okay. I'll bring those up afterwards. But it seems that people have a problem with water boiling. What's the hypothesis? What's the control variables? I don't get it. I find it hilarious. I mean, ever since when I here's what happens when I think of boiling, right? Because I have a chemistry background. As soon as I don't think of a rolling boil. I just don't think, with the pot on the stove. I don't think that. The first thing that comes to my mind is vapor pressure. I have to admit to you, it immediately comes to my mind, because that's the whole point behind boiling points, is vapor pressure of the liquid itself and the vapor pressure above it. So when anytime anyone says boiling, then that's it. Period. So it's not going to depend on a freaking container. It's not going to depend on a thermometer. It's not going to depend on what color my favorite color is, right? Are you talking about the vapor pressure of the container? See, that's why it's so stupid to me. Maybe I'm looking at it wrong.
Oh, while we're at this point, are you able to pull up my slides?
Oh, yeah. They did their little wiki Google scroll again, right? The 5-second wiki Google scroll. Yeah, let's check this out. Hold on a second, Adam.
Why are you doing it? I'll waffle a little bit, just because I covered it in more greater detail. Went through a bit of the document on Nathan's show today.
I missed
it out a bit.
I missed it.
No, it's worth a bit more, because I'll go and I want to stay succinct here, more to the more on the point, because of what intrigued me, what was going off, because there are all these claims of these things, and I think, well, that's interesting. I will repeat myself a little bit. The first thing is this a scientific paper? Does it propose a hypothesis? No. This is an article in the journal. As I described it earlier, it's the sort of stuff you read at Christmas as people put together stuff and give you a bit of history, and I did it and replicated this, that, and the other. And there are a number of claims in the abstract. The most outstanding in the abstract, I want to mention this, superheating up to 112 degrees. Now, these things that the author, Hasok Chang, is investigating, this is one of them. And he does say in the document, if you read through it, I couldn't replicate that. So the most outstanding headline in the abstract is not replicable. And these are replications from history, from Cavendish, from the 1770s. History of, there you go, even in the abstract, around 1800. So the history of how we got to making sure our centigrade and Celsius, and how we use our thermometers, all of the history of that, what we have to be careful with, what we have to be control for, what we have to realize what we're measuring. And that's one of the fundamental points. Now, if you pull up the first slide, John,
it's up.
The title, if you got it. If the boiling point is indefinite, how can thermometers be made? And this is the point it's addressing. And it's a really good document. It's really, I'll try and post it. It's worth it's a real good read, because it tells you how you get day. Yeah. But so the bit I just want to highlight here is, first of all.
So wait a second. So this is their wiki Google scroll, right?
The abstract, yeah.
The abstract was Jabroni's wiki Google scroll, correct?
Yeah. And it does go through, and he does replicate some of the more minor variances in the temperature claims. But they do also go through in great detail what that's about. It's not to do with the water.
So wait a second. Wait a second. Did Jabroni? I haven't been keeping up on those idiots. Did Jabroni pull citations out of this document or no?
I've not seen any citations from the document per se. This is why I'm just going to give a few.
Okay.
Myself.
There you
go. I've only just heard claims from this document.
Okay.
I heard the claims first, and it was only this week, a weekend, I think, that the document was shown. So I've researched for it and found it. I mean, if this isn't a document by Hasok Chang, Science Progress 2008, then, you know, please ignore what I say. But I think this is the one that was presented.
Okay. Go ahead.
They go through a lot of the stuff. They go through a lot of good stuff, and it's a lot of it's stuff I knew, because it's stuff you have to do when you making stuff boil in labs, understanding how heat transfer occurs and stuff like that, and understanding some of the specific properties of water that are different to everything else in phase transition. That doesn't go into this in great detail, but it does recognize it a little bit with superheating and supercooling. And what you have to do is to it to achieve this. It also recognizes importantly that we're talking about water, our water, not special water. And when they achieve some of these things, this is what they're achieving it with. Water that's had all the, you know, some of the basics. If you add salt to water, the boiling point and freezing point changes.
Sure.
So this is what they're doing. They're dealing with these minutiae and taking water, making it extracted of all the dissolvable oxygen even, and stuff, and then putting it into flasks that are coated with sulfuric acid so that no particulate formation can occur. So you've got no disruption in the intramolecular forces within the water, and seeing what you can achieve with that. I said to you the other day, a simple way is when you see those things on YouTube where someone will pull liquid water out of the freezer and then they'll spoon in it or finger in it, and then suddenly it'll freeze. And they're talking about those sorts of effects, which I say. So there's a little bit of that which is interrelated with this if you read it. But this is the first point, I think, to progress from. So without going into that they recognize. First of all, an immediate relief comes in realizing the difference between the temperature that water can withstand without boiling and the temperature that water maintains while boiling. Now, with a lot of the stuff, they go through this. They're achieving these temperatures and stuff. But they also say, look, leave it to boil for a minute, everything levels out. These are some of the thermodynamic, a lot of it's related to the thermometer itself. Be very careful with that and its conductivity and how you're putting it next to the container and within the water and within stuff you're going to put in the water. All these things can affect these things, and they recognize this. But I say for immediate relief, the realization that the difference between what water can do and what it does when it's boiling. And that's quite a significant thing in terms of what, if we're investigating water boiling, recognize that point. There's a difference. They do go through a lot of stuff, and they're talking about how then, how do we calibrate stuff, etc., etc. I'll just bear with me. I'll just scroll it down so I can.
Okay. Yeah, take your time.
Read it out. So in doing so, we've gone through a lot of stuff, and that's the stuff I'm talking about, the equipment, etc., etc. And then we come to this with all the equipment. What they point out, what they've had to do in all of this is make sure that the water stays uninterrupted by reality in a way, because you don't make sure the insides of your conical flasks are particularly smooth of having been ironed out with sulfuric acid, so that there's no way that the water's interacting with it. Right. And that's what they're trying to do here when they're superheating and things. So they're saying, look, basically, you don't dick about with stuff, leave it alone, water behaves as you expect. So they come to that conclusion here. And this comes to the third point. So the Society's committee well realized. The committee's lasting contribution, the last of our three factors contributing to the fixity of the boiling point, was to find one clear method of reducing the variations of the boiling point due to miscellaneous causes, which is what's discussed in 1 and 2. The most accurate way of adjusting the boiling point is not to dip the thermometer into the water, but expose it only to the steam.
Ah,
I know. Calm down, you.
all right.
Let's come in.
Yeah.
This and the next point, and this. I know John's excited because this is the point. This is what boiling is, and I'll finish with that. But somehow using the boiled off steam rather than the boiling water itself seemed to eliminate many of the most intractable variations in the temperature. These are people in the 1800s writing this. Yeah.
Mhm.
This is what they're saying. This is how we're figuring it out. How do we quantify? How do we use it to generate and calibrate a scale? What are we going to do? I know the bloke in America might have a slightly different pot. Yeah, it might be. Tell him not to stick it next to the pot. So they've gone through all of these things, but they're saying the most important thing in all of this is don't measure it there, because you're introducing things that aren't dealing with the water. Right? Deal it at the point of phase transition. Okay. So the heat of the steam therefore appears to be not sensibly different in different parts of the same pot. Neither does there appear to be any sensible difference in its heat, whether the water boils fast or slow, whether there be greater or less depth of the water in the pot, or whether there be greater or less distance between the surface of the water and the top of the pot, so that the height of the thermometer tried in steam in vessels properly closed seems to be scarcely sensibly affected by the different manner of trying the experiment. The recommendation to use steam came most strongly from Cavendish, a friend of all of ours. Yeah, but exactly. But this is the time that this
right.
These not I said they didn't use citations, but these claims were coming from the writings of these men, and this is a guy who repeated some of the stuff in 2004, and this is, like I said, it's just like a news article type thing. It's a bit of miscellany. It's not really. It's not a paper. And like I say, fundamentally, there's no hypothesis in it. So he's just gone through it. It's kind of the stuff that you read as a geek. When I used to have my pharmaceutical journal, it's the stuff you have in there. If you're a bit of a geek, this is like your history of your subject, and it's good stuff to read. It's entertaining, but it's not a scientific paper.
Right.
We just go to the last slide, and I'll summarize. So in terms of what we're saying, I think what's important, and again within this entertaining paper, it summarizes towards the end modern theories of boiling, and this is just where I want to leave it, because the guys in the 1800s have said where to take the pressure. John's kind of alluded, QE's kind of alluded to what he's talking about, what the temperature is, but in the traditional theory of boiling in physics and physical chemistry, the boundary between the liquid state and the gas state is sharply defined as the line on which vapor pressure, as a function of temperature, reaches the level of the external pressure.
Exactly.
What boiling is. Okay. And I think that's the important point. If you're going to bring in 100 degrees and atmospheres, etc., those things are on sliding scales. And so I'll just read it again. Boiling in physics and physical chemistry, the boundary between the liquid state and the gas state is sharply defined as the line on which the vapor pressure, as a function of temperature, reaches the level of the external pressure.
Yep. That's how I learned it. That's how I see it. Yep. Is that it?
I'm done, unless, Betty wants me to ramble a bit more because she likes it, but no, I'm done. I can repeat myself.
Mic check, mic check.
Mic check. Yeah, sound good.
Is that chocolate?
Chocolate. Hey, chocolate.
What's up, Betty? How you doing?
Hey.
It's good, everybody.
You got a better mic today than you did before.
I was just gonna say, no chopping.
Yeah.
Really? And I'm driving. That doesn't even make any sense. But okay.
Oh.
You sound
Keep
good,
on
El.
driving.
Well, you sound good, El Chapo.
El Chaco, man.
El
I
Chaco.
like that, El Chaco.
That's good. Love it.
All right. We good? Do you have anything on this? Do you have anything in good faith, El Chaco?
Got some open source evidence.
You're all over that, man.
Check them out, man.
Check out.
Did they
Go ahead.
did they define what good faith was anyway? Did we ever come to an understanding of what they mean by in good faith?
No, I did. Is there any rebuttal to that, by the way?
I'm waiting to find out what it means today.
Don't hold your breath. We've been waiting to find out what ether, electromagnetism, electricity, for goodness sakes, magnetism, electrostatics, and static electricity is. We're still waiting on those. So if you're waiting on what good faith is, don't hold your breath. I think I summarized it. Everyone knows it. It's implicit. Yes?
Aren't we waiting for a couple of things from Rumpus as well? So it's like a comparison. We're waiting on things from people that have nothing. So I think I understand what's going on here.
What's going on here?
I don't think any of them are flat earthers at all.
That's a big statement, man. That's a big claim. That'd be hard to show that. Be careful. I'm still getting flashed here. What's going on, man?
Was this a sort of a silence for taking him to the grave? No?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. They sort of unilaterally all shut up for a while.
Yeah.
Good.
And that's
I have
I like. Hold on. I like the word unilaterally from.
Yeah, I always wanted to use it in a sentence, and now I did. Yes.
It was really good. I like it. Good job.
Did you use that in good faith?
Absolutely.
That's what I've got an issue with. There's a
Oh my
strange...
God! How can you have an issue with that, Adam?
I'll tell you why. Because I'll read it. Good faith. An overreaching concept for being open and honest in negotiations. That goes beyond the idea of not deceiving the other party. So, as far as I can see, everybody Whitsitt is asking for good faith for Jaren and himself, whilst at the same time saying we do not deserve that. We are scammers and are worthy of no good faith. That juxtaposition of what they've accused us of, so, yeah, and how they are setting themselves up is a very strange thing. When I heard that good faith phrase used, I found it quite galling in light of the accusations that's been thrown at us. I'm done.
Can somebody translate that?
I didn't finish my banana.
I've had a brief to be brief.
You were briefed to be brief.
Yeah.
QE and I did both use the same sort of like things we always use when Adam is speaking. I need a translator, and I didn't finish my banana.
See, just to the viewers, you see, they tease me all for getting a little bit tipsy Saturday and rambling a little bit, and now it's biting them on the bum, innit? Because you got banana in your mouth.
Oh my God, it's so nice to have you here, Adam.
I ate a whole dinner that day.
And then some.
To be fair, you could have cooked it as well.
Yeah, to be fair. Yes.
He was. Didn't you hear? Oh. What was it, QE? Was it a five course meal?
I don't think I go up to 5 courses. Go ahead, Adam. He wants to rumpus me.
This is what happens, right? I get a little bit tipsy, ramble a little bit, and that's what's discussed. Instead of the 5 hours solid reading and interpreting a ridiculous document that's been claimed to disprove water boiling. Nobody wants to talk about that. The hard work that went in there. No, I'd got a bit tipsy. Shocking.
Because it's much more fun.
You backstabbers.
It's much more fun to attack the straw man, which is you.
Yeah. Enjoy.
Don't be lit on fire, Adam. You will burn.
You have to fill me wine up.
For a straw man, you know. Little alcohol does a great deal for the fire too. A drunken straw man.
I got about a quarter of banana left.
What the hell is with the bananas, man? Do you have a whole pile of them, or is that the only thing that you can get down there in Missouri?
No, I just got one. No, we get a lot of things. We get, we have avocados. We got strawberries. We got. See, we're getting into food.
But you don't got those. You got just the bananas. So what's up with that?
Well, I'm not going to bring in an avocado and eat it in here. You got to prepare the avocado. I like avocados. I like guac. So that takes a little bit of preparation.
No, you're pronouncing it wrong. It's guac.
Guac. I like guac. So that takes a little bit of
like a frog.
That sounds like it takes a little bit more preparation time. With a banana, you just grab that monkey and bring it back with you.
Preparation or perspiration?
It's preparation. I just brought it back with me.
You could have done that with the guac.
Guac.
No.
I did in good faith, though.
Apparently, that's a straw man, according to Adam.
All right, got one more bite.
I don't understand.
An avocado is a berry?
Berry?
It's my wife just told me an avocado is a berry. Considered a berry.
So is tomatoes.
Yeah. Tomatoes, that's a vegetable, they say here.
It's a fruit. It's a fruit.
Yeah. No, but they call it a vegetable here.
For tax purposes, it is a vegetable.
For tax purposes.
That's why it got classified as such. Yeah, it was for tax reasons.
Huh. See, there's no science attached to that.
What is pico de gallo? I'll tell you what. It's not pico de gallo. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, it's not pico de gallo. It's pico de gallo. I think we already been over pico de gallo before. It's just one of those little bits of heaven. Little pieces of heaven brought down to earth. I have yet to find the pico de gallo I found in San Antonio. I have yet to find that anywhere else. Chow Yun Cat, thanks. For God so loved the world that he gave it. Oh, sorry, Betty, that's yours.
No, you go on. You're on a roll, man.
All right. Chow Yun Cat, 7. She gave 77. Love it. For God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish but have eternal life. John 3:16. Yeah, that's a fact.
Yep. And that's done in good faith.
That was done in good faith. All right, hey, give me a minute. Betty, you take the con. Give me 1 minute. Just.
Hey, Betty, speaking of that, did you see that show called The Chosen? Or it's like it's the Jesus picking the 12 disciples. It's done in like a series. It's really good. You would like it.
Yeah, I have, but I'm waiting on when they are putting up new seasons, and they haven't done it yet, have they?
What do you think of it though, so far? I like the human side they showed you Jesus having, not like this space cadet that was out of touch with humanity. I mean, they really show you his human side.
Yeah, true. There's especially the season 1 where there was a couple of these sort of surprise moments where you got a sort of a aha moment, and also very very emotional at times. You know. I
Yes,
think,
when he called Mary
yeah.
of Magdalene. Oh man, I was emotional on that. I had the
Yes.
chills.
Yeah, they did a great job on that one. Really. Yeah. Yeah.
And
it's a
also
good
how they portrayed Nicodemus.
Yeah, seen that too. Yes, that was a good one too. You know, the only thing that I really sort of found to be a little bit weak is that he had to sort of prepare for his Sermon on the Mount sort of thing, that he was like putting
Yeah,
that together.
I was thinking about that too, but I mean, he was
that in the
preparing.
Bible?
No, because he was saying how he wants to be able to tell stories that people can understand. That's where you get the
Sounding
prodigal
like
son.
blasphemy now.
Oh, stop
Sounding
it.
like modern day soap opera blasphemy.
No, definitely not soap opera. Very well done.
Hold
Adam.
up.
You would enjoy it.
You've had a bit of Jesus taking notes before his big gig. You just said that they've been put that in.
No, that's not what he was saying.
Is the scenes in it outside of scripture?
Mm-hmm. Did you see that too from The Chosen, Adam?
I've not seen it. I just heard you two describing it, and I was in, and then that described that just seems weird to me. That's
Yeah,
not.
that is weird. That is weird. But yeah,
You either just enlighten the text and visualize it. You know what I mean? Cinemize it, the text, and keep what's that. You don't put extra scenes in. Who's authorized that? That's perverting. That's one man's opinion of his opinion of the Bible. You've got to be very careful of that, and that's then getting projected to millions. And so you shouldn't project that as anything other than a soap opera.
It's a team effort that they do. It's not they have scholars there too, and they sort of portray it. And they are, yeah, of course, we understand that this is not a real portrayal of things.
Peer review.
Yeah, well, there is a couple of
fair enough then.
that know about the background in back in.
They knew that Jesus took notes, and this is what he did before.
Adam, stop it! I was doing a delivery. Adam, listen. They took liberties. Adam, they took liberties.
Then you shouldn't pay any attention to it.
Hold on a second.
Nothing outside of scripture.
We just heard Neil describe Jesus as a space cadet. That's freaking me out.
No, I didn't. I said they didn't portray him as a space cadet like some of these other shows. Like he was out of touch with humans. Like he was just floating around like his head in the clouds. That's not Jesus.
What other show? I'm sorry.
Well, the thing is that usually people talk about things that they themselves didn't watch, right? And we'll describe it, but of course we describe also, Neil, that we find things a bit weak. And we also do understand that this is just a man's rendition of what they think was happening. And it's just another point of view. But there was really good stuff in there that really hit home. And that was one of those things was that Mary scene where he called her back, and it was really good.
Right after a rabbi went there, couldn't do a darn thing, got chased out pretty much, and he just called her by name.
Exactly.
Powerful.
Yes. Yeah. And there was some other beautiful stuff too, but some things, sometimes I think they want him, they downgrade him a little bit too much, you know. But I do think that there's a lot of good stuff happening in that really could sort of capture people and say, okay, let me look into this. You know, it's yeah.
Correct. Like I thought a weak part was when he cast that demon out. Like he was running away saying, out of him. Now, if you compare that to the movie Jesus of Nazareth, Jesus of Nazareth. He says, Satan, leave him. And that's it. Real powerful. So, a couple of things. But overall, it's good.
Yeah. All good players too, and really good like props and stuff that they use. And yeah, it's really a big operation. But the
I was
first
just
series.
kidding with you, Neil.
Yeah, I know. But Betty, who's the guy Simon? Now, the one that was training to be a zealot, the zealot guy that had his brother was the one at the pool of Bethsaida. Now, which disciple is he?
Yeah, that's a good one. I forgot about that.
Because I'm trying to figure it out. I know there's two Simons, right? You got Simon Peter. This is terrible. I don't even know the 12 disciples. That's bad.
Yeah, I have to review that again. It's a long time that I watched it, to be honest, because I'm really looking forward to the next ones. And the first one they translated in different languages, so the first season I could watch in my own language with subtitles. Make it a little bit like better.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Hey,
they didn't do that in the second series, so.
Hey, John, do you know who Mark Gastineau is, right?
Yes.
Football player from the Jets in the 80s.
Yes.
Well, he was going to my church at one time in Times Square Church. So I asked him, I said, Mark, what happened? 1983, you had a great quarterback. You had great wide receivers. You had Freeman McNeil running the ball all over the place. What the heck happened in Miami? He said, the Mud Bowl? I said, yeah, I put money on you guys. He said, name the 12 disciples and I'll tell you what happened at the Mud Bowl. I couldn't name them.
Simon the Canaanian, or Simon the Zealot, is the other one that's not Simon Petros, Peter.
Come back with that, Adam.
Simon the Zealot, I think, is the other.
That's what I call them. My son asked me. I call them, it's got to be Simon the Zealot.
Yeah. Zealot's not back then, remember, an insult as it's considered now. Someone with zeal to the law. Probably why he's lesser known.
I was wondering where Neil was going with that Mark Gastineau thing. I was like, boy, that's
He's one of the disciples.
Mark Gastineau.
He's yeah, but John, he's solid right now. It's an authentic conversion. He was in Bible school with my other brother, and listen, he got hit with stuff, John, that we would never get hit with. I mean, after a game, you got the physical fitness guy telling him, Mark, your check is in the locker. Your check is in the locker. The party's over here. And there's this many girls and that many things going on. For a young guy, he was hit with temptations that we would never be hit with. He was explaining some of them to my brother, but he didn't want to get into too much detail because he didn't want him to cause him to stumble. But let me tell you something. It's not easy what they get hit with.
I didn't say it was. I was just shocked. I was just shocked when you said Mark Gastineau. I was like, that didn't transition well. How are you going to connect this?
Well, I'm connecting it with his Christianity. We were talking about the Chosen.
Yeah, you were talking about the 12 disciples. I was just wondering, when you did that, I said, okay, now I got it. I thought we were just off on another tangent. But
he was able to add football into the list, so that was pretty good.
Did you ever see a professional or ex-professional run? You know the difference when you see them take off in stride.
Yeah.
Freaking believable.
Speaking of which, I'm gonna have to take a leave of absence. I think November 4th and 5th, because it seems that I have a professional in the household that's running. I'll tell you what, he's making leaps and bounds from last year. So he's running. I think he's running a sub 445 mile. Even at my height, I not tall, but my running prowess, I could never. I wouldn't get close to that. So that's pretty impressive. So I might.
He's doing a mile.
Say again?
He's doing a mile in 4 minutes and 45 seconds.
It might be faster.
Jesus.
That's what I said. Because my fastest, it was really funny. I never did track in high school. I was never like, but I always ran, right? As you know, as a kid back in the 70s, that's all we did, and that's all I did was run. Whether it was football, baseball, soccer, or just run, sprint. But I never did it, officially in track in high school. Then when I got in the military, all we did was run. But we didn't do a lot of sprinting, though. It was a lot of long runs, right? And I could just remember, and I think I probably brought this up before, at my height, it was like when I was 22, 23 years old, and we used to have to do PT tests. In the military, you got to do, I don't want to speak about the other services, but in the Army, you had to do PT tests every 6 months. So that consisted of a 2-mile run, push-ups and sit-ups. Okay, so I'm remembering the 2-mile run, and it would happen every single time. I was there for 5 years, so every single time everyone would be up on the line, the whole company. So you're talking a lot of friggin' people, right? At some points greater than 100, and everyone trying to get in front of each other to get a good takeoff, right? Because when that clock went off, that's when your time started. And I can remember every single time. It was once you get out of the cluster at the starting gate, about 2 or 3 minutes in, it would be this guy who was in sniper platoon. A really good friend of mine. His name was Young. It would be Young, then me, and then I can remember looking back, and it'd be the rest of the company in one big gaggle. Every single time this would happen. And Young, he would be almost indecipherable from my position. That's how fast this guy was. And my fastest time in the 2-mile was 10 minutes and 26 seconds. That's the fastest I ever ran it. So you could do the math.
Wow, I remember PT.
Say again?
Well,
Say again?
I said I remember PT. Physical training, right?
Yeah, PT. Yep. That was with 2 packs of cigarettes in my socks.
Maybe if you didn't do that, then it would have been better.
I don't know. I started smoking when we're going to get off into my history and stuff. I started smoking real young. 8 years old.
8 years old?
Yeah.
You started at 8 years old?
Yeah.
You just said that, yes.
Yeah. How many times do you want me to say it? Yes. Now, my mom, maybe I shouldn't get into this.
When did you stop?
I was in Hawaii in the Ranger Indoctrination Program. That's when I stopped smoking. I had to because you couldn't smoke there. That was in the summer of 90. 1990. I think I was, what would that make me?
not a Marine. For some reason, I thought you were a Marine.
He doesn't like squids.
No, Marines aren't squids. That's Navy guys. Marines aren't squids. That's Navy guys. I was headed towards the Marines, but I couldn't swim. And when I say that, I could swim. I just wasn't a strong swimmer because I always sink. I was always like I could swim. It's not like I couldn't swim. I mean, if somebody threw me in a pool, I love going to the pool. I try to stay away from the deep end on most occasions, or if I was in the deep end, make sure that the sides of the pool were relatively somewhat close, if you know what I mean. So in panic, I could make it to the side of the pool. So yeah, I was headed that, and as it turns out,
So you can't swim.
I can swim. So as it turns out, I said, okay, I can't do the Marines because I'm going to drown. Let me go in the infantry in the Army. Guess what they did?
Threw you in the water.
Yep. Yes, they
Listen,
did.
if your boat capsized, could you make it?
Yep.
That's the whole thing.
Yep.
If you're out in the ocean, your boat capsized, can you make it to shore?
Yeah. Yeah.
Then you could swim.
I can remember standing there and kicking me off into that pool with full equipment. I was like, oh, God, I thought I got out of this. Nope.
My military training lasted 6 months. Actually, 3 weeks.
Yep. So that's that story. Oh, but the story about Young, right? He ran track in high school, and he can make it in 2 miles in 9:30. 9 minutes and 30 seconds. I think he ran it faster a couple times. That's how friggin' fast he was. He won the French marathon drunk one day in Berlin.
What?
Yeah, he won it. Yes, he did.
But that's on par. That's on par with 4:45 a mile, though.
Yep, that's on par. That's right where my son is right now. He's just a junior, so look out.
So he ain't done growing yet either.
No, he's fat. I raced him too. Betty was telling me you should race him, and
Well, you said that you would outrun him, and that's not happening.
Yeah, see, because I had it in my mind. I still have it in my mind. Says I'm young, right? I know everyone probably has the same. That's getting older. My mind says that I could do it because it's in my mind, right? But oh my God, I thought I could get him off the start. Right. And if I got him off the start, then I could probably, weasel my way. He blew my doors right off. It wasn't even close. 2 steps. He was.
The thing is, these guys are like training the start.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that's when you start wrong. That's the whole game basically. So
yes.
You could never have gotten him when he's so trained in starting off in a race.
I knew I was finished. When we got up to I should have known that I was finished well before that, but I'm stubborn. but I got into my stance because I know that position, right? When I was a kid to get ready, to rock and roll, and I was facing him. He looked over at me, and I looked at him, and I said, "This is over."
This was over even if he started 10 meters or maybe 100 meters behind you.
Not 100. We only raced 100 yards. Don't get friggin'...
Yeah. But if he was already out of the gates when you just had to start, crying out loud.
Yeah, it was horrific.
And you didn't even finish it. You just stopped.
I did not stop.
Did you try tripping him?
I did not.
You didn't finish it. You just stopped halfway.
I did not stop. That was 3/4 of the way where I said I might as well just slow her down.
You didn't go over the finish. He did.
Yes, I did go over the finish.
Yeah, walking.
No, not walking, jogging.
Yeah, walking. walking. Unbelievable.
Yeah, I sent the tape to Betty because she was asking, when are you going to do it? When are you going to do it?
Yeah, you postponed it. I think you postponed for a whole year.
I didn't postpone it. We just couldn't get on the same sheet. And then one day when my sister was here, and she raced him too, by the way. Yeah, my sister was a good athlete back in the day. But we're getting old. She's 10 years younger than I am, so. It didn't matter.
What did she do?
Say again?
What did she do?
I think he let her go. He left her with like a 10-second start, and it was over. He blew by her like she wasn't even there.
Well, I saw him run. He's really, really, really fast.
Yeah,
He's really like they called the disciple Peter, also the thunder, right? Simon Peter was like a thunder. That's what I thought, but your son was like racing.
Is he one of those people whose strides looks almost cartoonish because how fast they're going? It's like your brain can't comprehend the stride next to the motion that, like, I've seen people that run that fast.
Those legs of John's son was like a wheel almost, like you see in these.
Yes. Yeah, it looks like a wheel almost. Yeah, that's what like it's almost cartoonish in the way how fast they're moving.
Absolutely. There was no way that you could see even that he was moving at all. It's really amazing.
Yeah. Next time, try tripping him out of the gate.
No, I wasn't. We were at a distance.
He was too far away.
Yeah, he was too far away. I was on one side of the road, and he was on the other side of the road. Yeah. So there couldn't have been any shenanigans. I wouldn't do that to my son anyway.
Why did the chicken cross the road? He chickened out of the race.
He didn't chicken. Yeah, the realization hit me when I looked down. I seen a little bit of a belly as I bent over a little bit. I said, "This is not gonna happen."
You couldn't even see that your shoes were tied, or not?
That's a damn lie. It's not that bad. It's a reckoning, right? It's just a reckoning. That's all.
Oh, take some Pico de Gallo again.
Yeah, a little bit too much Pico de Gallo, 30 years. Like I said, even at my best, I still think he'd have me, which is kind of disconcerting for me because I when I was young, I could fly. I could really run.
Well, that's sort of bittersweet then, and it's like realizing your own immortality while you're looking at what your progeny kind of thing.
Yes. Yeah. I got over it pretty quick though.
Well, at least you gave your good genes through to the younger generation.
Yeah, right. Shit. I'll tell you what, boy.
Depleted yours, but you gave it all away.
Maybe I ought to challenge him to like the obstacle course or something. I'd go down the tubes with that now too.
How about shooting bow?
Oh, he's finished. Yeah, that's one thing I got him with any type of marksmanship. Shooting a bow, yeah. Although I'll tell you what, he took to it really quickly. I was surprised at that how quickly he took to it.
You only got much time to spend on stuff.
Yeah. But he's just so busy right now that shooting for him he can't do it. There's not enough time in the day. Not with high school and then jobs and vehicle and cross country and track and band and chorus, and he's done so much stuff, and some things I never did. Never.
And you said back in the day that he was just not getting away from his computer gaming the whole time, but that's not happening now.
Yeah, he got.
Hold on a sec.
Go ahead.
I was going to ask you, did you require him to do sports and instrument, or is this like stuff he took up on his own?
No, I never laid any of that burden on him. No, I let my kids go. To a point, I introduced them to stuff, right? But I had to back off. I just knew it intuitively. Because I remember I didn't want my parents doing that to me. Just let me go. Let me do what I want to do. Right, so at least I had a little wisdom with that. Give myself a little bit of credit.
Yeah, I don't.
They did.
I don't have any of that. I require my kids to play an instrument and take an interest in a sport.
You do require it, or you don't?
I do require it.
Oh, you do?
It's
okay.
like yeah.
So a little.
Okay, what do they do?
So you get a little
They'll probably go up to resentment.
There we go. It's always a delay. So you got a little communist in your blood, eh?
Oh yeah, I'm sure they'll grow up to resent me for it too.
Yeah, I've got that exact match, but it took 2 children to get it. I've got one that plays a guitar, and I've got one that plays football. On that, John, I can't keep up. All I did this Saturday was run the line, and I couldn't go up and down stairs properly over the weekend.
Really?
So, yeah,
Because
and
of
then
the
my
drinks?
day is done.
Because of the drinks. Betty's all over him.
It's honestly that you. I'm 49 now, so you know, and you were saying earlier, your mind thinks you can do it.
Yep.
And I still think I can skin him, you know, at football, but the body goes. The mind says do this, but the body just doesn't respond anymore, unfortunately.
Yeah.
You can still imagine yourself doing it, but
Yep.
it doesn't happen in reality.
Yes, exactly. You got it. I can visualize it. Right, but it is not.
Isn't that strange that when you grow up, you think that you have every like time of the world to spend, you know, and you don't do anything with it, and then afterwards you do know what you want to spend your time on, and then you don't have the body for it again.
Yeah, that is. Yeah.
Something's up with that, you know.
Yeah, it is.
Isn't that,
Yeah, it is.
isn't that the sentiment that youth is wasted on the young? That's kind of that sentiment, right?
Mm.
I remember I used to play with after I was born in the city, but we moved to the highlands up in the sort of mountainous country in the woods. And right when I was about 10 years old, they converted all the woods behind our house into a park. It had 4 baseball fields, and they made 4 tennis courts and 2 basketball courts, right? So I started playing tennis. And I started getting really good at it, right? And I would play tennis. I'd go out there in the morning, and I wouldn't come back till after dark because they had lights, right? And I can remember a few summers where I'd do it every day. Whoever would come down would just play tennis. There were some good players back in those days. This has got a point. So my daughter and she goes, "Why don't you come over and play tennis with me?" And I said, okay. So there's some courts not near to my house here, but a couple miles away. So we went over, and it was Peter and my son and my daughter, Peter and Abby, against me on one side. And I did. When you're a natural, it just happens. It's like riding a bike, right? Here's what I wasn't prepared for. The next day. That's what I wasn't prepared for. I couldn't get out of bed. That's how bad it was.
Yeah, that's what happened. So I said I couldn't go up and downstairs for the weekend properly.
Yeah.
My knees just wouldn't work.
Yeah. I couldn't get, it hurt so bad because you don't use the different muscle groups and stuff. Even though I weight trained my entire life, didn't matter. It didn't matter at all. I was in bed. It was so bad. It lasted 3 days. And I wasn't even playing hard. So, second law of thermodynamics, it's a real bitch. Tell you that much right now. I'm about tired of it. You can't win. You can't break even. You can't get out of the game. Well, you can get out of the game, but that's the end.
That's the end. It's the end of the race.
Yeah, it's the end of the race. It's an amazing thing, and like John said, it's a peek into your own mortality. Yeah, I kind of thought so.
Maybe that's a good thing.
What do you think? What's a good thing?
Oh, that you basically wind down a little bit and sort of give it on to the next generation.
Yeah.
I mean, if you always would be striving with your kids if you couldn't do that, you know. You have to basically let go. If you can't let go, then you will always be on top of your kids of being better and better, and that's not good. They will never stand on their own 2 feet.
Oh yeah, they've done really well so far. Yeah. Yeah, he broke out of that video game thing. I didn't think it was possible, but he did. In a big way.
Yeah, in a big way.
Yeah, in a big. It was just like.
because I remember back in the day, you were complaining about that. And I said, well, he's emulating his father. He's also behind the computer a lot.
Yeah, but that's not the same damn thing. Unbelievable, because that would be their excuse.
What the duck?
Yeah, what the duck? It's the same thing. When I would complain, that's the same thing they would say. So now I got Betty doing the same thing. False comparison fallacy. I was studying.
Oh, come on, fallacy. This is a very good thing.
No,
I mean,
it's not.
if you, as a kid, you don't know what your father is exactly doing. You're not standing at the door and listening in. So you think that he's doing the same thing you are doing, and that's gaming. Doing something behind a computer.
I was studying.
Yeah, and that's authorized for him to do the studying as his.
Yeah,
himself.
studying video games. Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, but that's a skill as well, you know.
Yeah,
I
there's
bet
some.
that if you were going to do a game with him, that he's better at that as well.
I never got into video games. Even back in the day, now video games weren't, we're talking Atari, right, with Pac-Man and stuff like that. I never got into it. I played it a little bit because, my brothers and sisters, they were younger at the time. They played it. So whenever I was in the vicinity, I'd pick it up and whoop their butts on it. But I never yearned for it. You know what I'm saying? I never sat there all day playing video games. That never happened. So
People make a living playing video games now.
yeah, I know.
Yeah, I don't think that's healthy, by the way, but yeah. I remember doing games, these video games, the early ones, with my dad as well.
Wasn't
We would
Atari?
sit in on a Sunday afternoon. We would sit upstairs and in the attic or elsewhere, and then we would have these now it would be easy video games.
Oh yeah,
I
poor
even can
graphics.
remember these little sounds that they gave.
Yeah, the sounds, right?
Yeah, we talked about it just a week back, I think, and how we enjoyed that so much, doing that together and taking turns, shooting at stuff or trying to get some goal that that was in the game to work. Yeah, it was quite cool.
Quite silly. Why don't you go outside, play outside?
We also did that. I remember my father and I playing badminton in the streets.
Badminton? For goodness sakes.
Yeah.
You're so Dutch.
Yeah, badminton. Badminton is good because you don't have to run after the ball.
Badminton. We'd have crabapple fights.
You have to remember, we don't have that many fields and stuff where you can do tennis and all that sort of other stuff. So we in the streets, and when a car comes, you have to move over.
Oh,
But you go back in. So there's no net or nothing. It's
you're deprived.
Yeah.
So what we'd do, we'd
I wasn't.
get switches, right? We'd
I enjoyed it.
get switches and sharpen the ends. Real long switches, real flexible tree branches, not too thick. They had to be right. And then you know what crab apples are? They're really tiny apples. They're about as sometimes they can get.
I think you showed me those once.
Yes. Yeah, crab apples. You don't eat them suckers because they're sour. They just they ain't good for that. But they're good for whipping at your friends. So you'd stick them on the end of the stick, and you whip it, and they would leave a vapor trail, right? When you get hit by one, oh goodness gracious! Yeah, that was one of the things that we did. We did that a lot, by the way. I think that was before they cut the woods down in the park. Yeah, because back there it was just woods. Yeah, before we had a couple crabapple trees just around the edges, but that took away our crabapple battles. Too bad. That's what you guys wanted to hear tonight, didn't you?
I thought they come to hear phlogiston in review.
Phlogiston. I seen you post that in there. I didn't get a chance to read it though.
Oh yeah. Well, the debunking of phlogiston is involved with weighing gases in containers, but since gases don't have a weight, phlogiston must be true.
Come again?
Well, I just kind of taken the Jaren route with it, you know, like reintroducing phlogiston. You might as well, like, as silly as the arguments have become, you know, might as well have fun with it.
It's an intellectual play on the current situation. It's using phlogiston. You should read it, John,
okay,
instead of summarizing it.
Oh, you want him to read it?
Yeah, sorry, Kiwi, yeah.
I don't know how to bring it up on my phone and use where this app's new. I don't know how to where I use push to talk. I can't read it.
Oh, you can't
and
read
use
it.
my phone.
Do you want me to?
Good God, no.
Oh yeah.
I got 3 paragraphs to ramble. Get a banana, Kiwi. Get a banana. Okay. So, refracted curvature. The theory holds that all flammable materials contain phlogiston, a substance without color, odor, taste, or mass that is liberated in burning. Once burned, the dephlogisticated substance was held to be in its true form, the calx. Phlogisticated substances are those that contain phlogiston, and they are dephlogisticated when burned. In general, substances that burned in air were said to be rich in phlogiston. The fact that the combustion soon ceased in an enclosed space was taken to clear-cut evidence that the air had the capacity to absorb only a definite amount of phlogiston. When air had become completely phlogisticated, it would no longer serve to support combustion of any material, nor would a metal heated in it yield a calx, nor would phlogisticated air support life, for the role of air in respiration was to remove the phlogiston from the body. Thus, phlogiston is first conceived was a sort of anti-oxygen. Joseph Black's student Daniel Rutherford discovered nitrogen in 1772, and the pair used the theory to explain his results. The residue of air left after burning, in fact, a mixture of nitrogen and carbon dioxide, was sometimes referred to as phlogisticated air, having taken up all of the phlogiston. Conversely, when oxygen was first discovered, it was thought to be dephlogisticated air, capable of combining more phlogiston and thus supporting combustion for longer than ordinary air. There you go, John.
Very interesting.
And therefore oxidation reactions have been debunked.
Has a lot of ether overtones to it, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. That's why I like it.
Phlogiston is ether?
Say again?
Yeah, the massless medium is what I like about it.
Tasteless. What else? Tasteless?
Well, it said it was massless,
Odorless.
like it has no mass, it has no volume. You know, it's like a background medium.
So all the 5 senses are basically out of
You're
out of the
gonna
question.
get in trouble with that. It doesn't contain mass, because you know what I'm gonna ask you.
What's math?
Yeah, I know what you mean, but be careful.
Well, basically, you can't experience it with the 5 senses. It's unmanifest.
Interesting.
Yeah, you know, and most people, if you try to put this forward, would call you retarded. But for some reason, if you do it with ether, that's cool. You know, whatever.
You're not doing it with good faith. That's the whole problem.
That's the problem, isn't it?
Yes,
like if I was just a little bit dumber, it would be okay.
No, you're just no good faith with it. Where did El Chaco go?
Maybe he was the end of the line for his car.
Oh, that's right. He was traveling. Got it. Yeah. Good point.
Best reception was during the drive, I think.
Right.
Did you say on manifest?
Non-manifested. That's what he said. Neil, are you driving?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
So mass is like the fat lady sings. Huh?
Mass is like the fat lady sings? No, that's not what mass is.
Well, tell that to the lady.
Tell that to the lady. Yeah, they're you're silly.
Yeah, sorry. I'm thinking about what I was thinking about when you said, "Well, you're gonna get in problems with mass," and I'm thinking, yeah, talk to women about that. You know.
What if I don't want to? What if
Do I look fat in these trousers? Do I look fat in this dress? And then you say, "Oh, what's mass?"
Oh, that you could say that. Would that work?
Mass.
Would that work?
And yeah, but then again, I mean, you guys like the thinny and the thinny and the skinny, the bony bitches, basically.
Ah, I knew that was coming.
Yeah. So
are you taking the M off of mass and asserting it that way?
Well, sometimes when you're in the trousers with your mass.
This is getting silly.
It's like,
go ahead, John.
I was just going to say, it's like a southern pronunciation of my ass, mass.
Mass. Yeah. If you aren't careful, it's mass in the sense of having a mass on with a priest and prayer and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, it's equivocating.
Well, I am the queen of fallacies.
Oh, I thought you were going to say I am the queen of equivocation.
It's even worse.
That's a silly fallacy right there, by the way. It Jedi mind tricks a lot of people though, because they don't catch it. They know something's wrong, but they just don't catch it, and especially if somebody is doing it really fast. Yes.
Well, John, we're not in formal debate, so you can use fallacies if it's not in formal debate, right?
Oh, that is so funny. Who was that? Friggin' M. Scott Screech. Yeah, as long as you're not wearing a suit and tie, it's not a fallacy. Yeah. Boy, that was pretty stupid.
He's the same guy that says you don't know what science is. It's too narrow the way you have it. The way you explain the scientific method is too narrow, QE. Your method's too narrow.
Yep.
Wouldn't that be awesome if QE actually invented abductive reasoning? Like, that would be awesome to know the person that invented abductive reasoning.
Yeah.
What, he didn't? Are you kidding me? I thought he did. I'm out of here.
I think we're winding down.
We've been winding down for a while.
And unless Adam is like going to start a heavily drinking and ranting scene.
Adam's been.
I'm just fully.
Go
I'm
ahead.
fully wound. I'm just, you know.
I'm sorry, Adam. I'm just like teasing you a lot.
My ass killed it.
Well, we can sit
When
here
you
and
were on about penetrating it, I was worried. But
can't we just sit here and have a few minutes of silence?
Are you going to sing Kumbaya?
I am not. I'm just saying.
Shall I?
You know, can't we just?
Kumbaya, my lord.
Jeez, oh
Kumbaya.
man.
Hold on a second. I'm working on a rhyme right now.
Kumbaya, my lord. Kumbaya.
Are you wanting to have a moment of silence for the ether, for Jaren, for Bob, for Witsit? Like,
No.
just that whole thing?
What I'm trying
Working on a rhyme, yeah.
Shut up! What I'm trying to say is that there's nothing wrong with little moments of silence between friends. We're comfortable with each other. Not every second has to be filled.
On air, you do. Crying out loud.
No, you don't.
Of course you do. What do you think that if people are skimming through this video and they hear a long pause of silence, I mean, they would think these guys are like daft. I'm not coming back.
Daft. Sometimes it's better just to shut the hell up.
Yeah. Well, how about the super chat?
Good.
Say him.
It's from Unique Talks Famu, Shasha, and he says, necessary mass for fallacy is high IQ.
The necessary mass for fallacies is high IQ. What the hell does that mean?
Well, you have to have some brain, maybe. A mass in your brain, or between your ears. I think it's a nice, like, thing to meditate on.
What's that?
think about it and then see the insult.
What the hell are you guys talking about?
I'm lost.
High IQ.
I'm working.
You have a high IQ, and then you have to have a necessary mass for fallacy.
Who has a high IQ?
What's it? 160.
Yeah. My word.
Do you have to have a high IQ to create a fallacy? Is that the...
Yeah, could be. Maybe fallacies are the phlogiston of human thought.
I don't even know what to say to that.
She blinded me with science.
Thanks, Neil.
Oh my goodness.
Well, I'm
Yeah,
trying to
what's going
stir up. Hold on, I'm trying to stir up this rhyme I'm working on with non.
It's a good thing you're chopping.
All I had with non. With what?
I'm chopping. Freaking phone.
We didn't hear the last part of that, Neil.
Glad we didn't.
I said if I'm chopping, I'm the phone.
It's a way to rhyme, isn't it? Sounds like a rap.
Yeah.
Yeah, it.
Yeah, that's the
We hate raps.
Yeah, I don't like raps.
So wrap it up.
Yeah, stupid ass rap.
It's not even singing, is it?
Stupid.
Hold on, wait a second, Chewy. That united black people and white people back in 1987, was it? With Run DMC and
Really united
Aerosmith?
black and white people.
Well, musically, it brought them together when they remade "Walk This Way."
Somebody's screaming.
I remember the song, I'm not sure about the bit about black and white people coming together.
Well, let's put it this way: just them, because they did stay tight. They are pretty tight till this day. Well, who's ever left to run DMC? They all got killed. I think just Reverend Run is the only one around.
That's what happens, right? If you ever thought, I told this to, I can remember sitting there with my cousin about 15 years ago. We were just sitting there talking. I looked over at him. I said, you know what? It's all going to end tragically.
What made you say that?
Nothing. It was just, we're just sitting there. We're just contemplating, the philosophies of the universe. And I just looked over at him. I said, it's just going to end. It's going to be tragic. Every time he calls me now, he always brings that up. He said, it's tragic. It's going to be tragic.
But technically, you are right. According to scripture, it is going to be tragic.
No, I'm talking, yeah, of course that's true, but I'm talking about personally. It's going to end tragically. That's what you got. That's what you got to look forward to. I'm waxing I'm waxing philosophical. Okay, go ahead.
You're the Toxfame who says Neil got it.
Neil got it.
Death is pretty tragic, if that's what you mean, Kiwi.
What's that?
The death is pretty tragic, and that is how it's going to end for all of us.
Well, it's not going to end. That's not what I was I was just speaking to the death part, right? Not the after part. So I made that perfectly clear to him.
That's the bit I was referring to as tragic. Not the after bit doesn't sound so bad.
Exactly.
Kind of sucks, especially when you're at my age now. The slightest little pain, I think I'm going.
Oh, man. Yeah. Yeah. That's the end of my waxing philosophically. Oh, I like that. I like the one that's up there right now on the slideshow. It has a bunch of scientists in it, right? I remember this a long time ago. If I can just synthesize life here, then I'll have proven that it takes no intelligence whatsoever to form life in the beginning. Something to that effect. That's friggin' hilarious. I love that one. Maybe we should go over that at some point. What's the next? Oh, Betty, make sure and tell everyone for your next show. It's this week, so before we forget.
What do I have to do?
For your show this week.
Yeah? What?
Plug your show this week.
Oh, plug it. Now?
Just in case we forget. You never know. I could just wind up just halting the whole thing and then rolling.
Why don't I do it now then?
That's what I said.
Oh, I need to do it now. I thought you would give me a cue or something.
Holy duck!
I'm sure. We're doing it. We're taking it easy, right?
We're still taking it easy, but go ahead and put it out anyway, just in case I wrap things up quick.
Oh yeah. Well, let me see what the title is. It's going to be called Israel Part 5, and the title is The Vision of Israel Revisited.
Okay. And that's Thursday at 1 o'clock?
Yes. If you're there too, because otherwise it won't be.
No, I'll be there. I'm contracted to be there.
Absolutely.
If I wasn't, I'd be shooting.
I know.
I think I got the first verse. Non-manifest, that's what the ether is at best, till you get dragged around by your short hairs by QE like the rest. Okay, I'm good to go.
All right, that's more like a poem.
What is the beat like?
No beats.
No beats. Huey does not like rap. This is going to be specifically a rock song.
Rock song. Okay.
You know, I do play the bass guitar and the guitar and the drums.
Uh-huh. Okay, so when are you gonna hear the whole thing?
Well, technically, you need more than just what I said. So I got to come up with a few more, and then I'll come up with a chorus, and I'll try to put it into music.
So this is not the chorus. This is just the beginning of the middle.
It's one of the verses, I'd say. Let me find a few other stupid things they said about this Ether, and I'll put the full song together. Not full, full.
Have you noticed that they got away from that? Right?
Absolutely.
It's everything but the ether. A lot of you guys took that bait. Just want to let you know. Make sure you focus, because that's all this other nut. It's just diversionary, just childhood diversions.
No.
Yeah.
Everybody did not bite it. The ones that keep asking what is ether have not bitten.
Yeah. Maybe our
I
emissary,
like talking about it.
perhaps our emissary has some insights into what ether is today. He'll have to get back to his
Today,
mic. There
the
he is.
ether is mostly a medium for the perturbation of light, if light is a wave. However, there are clouds coming tomorrow, which may suggest that ether is a medium for all matter to form in. I'm waiting for that storm cloud. But we must remember this, and this is important. This is the initial claim. You know, what ether is, the luminiferous ether.
Oh, damn. Look at you. You're just showing off now.
I got it wrong. It's luminiferous. Still got it. Yeah. But by that very definition, it means the medium for which light is to perturbate in. And the only reason for it to need to perturbate in a medium is if it is a wave.
Yeah, but
by
then
very definition means that ether is the light in of itself, and that's one of the logical conclusions using that logical framework that you have to come to, that everything is light.
Yeah, but then Knuckle Dragger, hold on. Yeah, but then Knuckle Dragger said 10 days later that light's not a wave either.
That's what I'm saying. Just for today, the main forecast is it's just a medium for light to perturbate in. There's no additional claims that they've kind of founded themselves.
Huh.
The bit that's confusion is the link to magnetism and the manifest and the non-manifest, and how that has any logical link to an ether that is there for light to perturbate in. That seems to be the question I would ask it, and ask the other side, the Etherians. Are these the same ethers? The things that's the manifestation of the physical, or a thing that's for the perturbation of light? Or is it the same thing doing different things? That's a question I'd have that I don't have a specific answer on, if I'm being honest.
How long has it been?
What? Specifically?
It's been, are you still in discussions?
I've not had direct contact with Witsit since last week. I think I came accused of intentionally lying.
Oh, you're lying too.
Yeah, I don't know what I've lied about. I think purposely not giving my opinion on things. I'm just doing my best to disseminate what's out there. I'm not sure what I've lied about. I've not read it. There's 30 messages, and genuinely, I've had other stuff on this week. So
lying's bad.
Well, I know, but that's all I could see from the thing. Let me scroll down to it, and I've not read the messages.
Is the emissary not acting in good faith?
Well, that seems to be the academia. When you intentionally lie and misrepresent people to protect the illusion that you were right and are never wrong. I don't think I've ever said I'm never wrong. I'm happy to be wrong in all of this. The one thing Flat Earth taught me is, don't be so egotistical to think you're right in anything. And that's the way I approach everything. Even respectfully, the crap that's being foisted upon us right now. You see the way I approached that document. I read it with an open mind. I'm happy to accept anything. I accept my limitations. The issue we have here is that there seems to be people that saying they're outside of our understanding. They have greater understanding. When pressed to deliver that understanding, there seems to be a lack of anything other than good faith in that they know these things. They're not able to present it. I won't read the rest because I've not read it myself, and looks rather aggressive, so I won't go into it.
It's rather aggressive with wandering opinion.
I mean,
with what?
Look at that. You also are also a liar. I mean, that's a separate message. Are also a liar. I've not read the 30 messages. I've just scrolled down to the one that was just legible there. And that's nothing against Austin. I've had personal issues this week that I've only dealt with what I've really wanted to deal with.
Right.
And this crap isn't one of them. But
yeah.
Well, I mean, respectfully, if you look at that and you're being called liar and all these sorts of things, how do you respond to that? And then that goes back in the whole time log. That's a constant way of dealing with anything I've said or done, is to call me disingenuous, call me this, call me that, which I've kind of ignored and tried to move on to try and get understanding. But like I said, people are very triggered, and I don't understand why, if you've got truth to share and explain, why you would be so triggered.
I know why.
Calling other people without foundation liars and cheats and dishonest, and this goes back fundamentally to that. Well, I said the only thing that's got my goat is that, really, that supposed people who are supposed truthers have now one side turned on the other. Instead of dealing with the facts and the discussion and the learning we could share and discuss, and when we do discuss stuff, we have to challenge each other's opinions. There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, it's how we progress. It doesn't mean you have to defend something that's been taken apart and not worth progressing with. And that appears to be where we're at now. That people are very butthurt that their hard thought opinions, their great wisdom they developed in their own heads, has been challenged and disproved. And instead of being truthers and moving forward with humility, we've got this crap where we argue about the boiling points of water, whether science proves or disproves things. Yeah, and where I'm a liar. And we're a bunch
That's
of
a great
flat
summary.
Well, that's where we're at, Neil. This is the level that the so-called flat Earth community is at, both sides. Yeah, and hopefully our side is at least, say, from my point of view, if this stuff that's put into the arena that's worthy of discussing, like here's a claim about how water boils at different temperatures, this disproves science, then that's worthy of comment and analysis, and then rebuttal in this case, a rebuttal within its own document. I'd like to add, yeah, not by me going off anywhere else into Google mania, but just within this single random, like I said, not a scientific paper, but just a kind of news article in a scientific journal, because that's all it is. And the rebuttal I gave, which I think was sufficient to address the claims made by Jaron and Whitsitt within that document. And that's concerning. Either these people skim read, or they're intentionally deceiving and missing out those bits that really did ruin the point they were trying to make. I don't know which it is. Maybe it's a bit of both, to be honest. Yeah? They didn't bother to read. They just found the point they were happy with that allowed them to continue, but didn't read the rest of it. I don't know. But the point is, something was put up as support for claims. Fundamentally, the boiling point of this, which has the underlying science proves or disproves, and the document they gave us was analysed, and it's been shown to be bunkum and to disprove what they were claiming. And I'll deal with stuff like that. It's just disappointing that, look, what I'm dealing with is I'm a liar, I'm a flat earth homo, and by intonation to Nathan, you know, we're all fraudsters. And that's all I want rebutting. And the rest of it, we can continue on. And if it has to be at this level of aggressiveness to each other, then so be it, if that's what you choose. But let's put that aside. Man up, Jaren. Yeah, retract that bit, and then let's carry on discussing the nature of reality. And whoever's right and wrong, I've got no ego in bits to say I'm wrong.
He can't do it. Like Huey said.
That's not for you to say. That's for him to either demonstrate or not demonstrate. And that time will tell that. And it is not an independent variable.
Pride's, you know what?
What's your thoughts on that, Betty?
Are you really asking me this?
I just wanted to make sure you were still there.
I knew that.
You caught me. I was just, it was fair play because you caught me the other day.
I know.
Yeah.
So I was thinking of making a cup of coffee, and I was thinking, shall I just leave or shall I wait and announce it?
That was an interesting take there, Adam. As long as you remove all the opinions and the sides, that it sounded good.
That was very, excuse me, that was very opinion based.
It was very emissary based.
Well, he's got to keep some sort of diplomacy going on, correct? As the emissary?
No, I'm not arrogant enough, Neil, to think that I know everything. So if somebody presents something, I say I waited for that paper to arrive, I'm keen and interested to read it. Yeah? Call me a geek, but, you know, somebody's making a wicked claim, and then you can see what it is online, so you go and find it, and you go and read it. I'm interested in that. I'm not arrogant enough to think I know things. I don't make claims. Very rarely will you hear me make a claim. You know, but I am interested in knowing and learning things. And if there is a claim out there, and that was a very outlandish one, interesting. Like I said, in my kind of field, this sort of stuff, specifically in terms of pharmaceutics. So I was very interested. I'm not going out there to attack people. I don't need to. It's a waste of my time and my energy. But if I've not responded to the other stuff, really. You know, there's a lot of catcalling, like I said, that's out there. It doesn't interest me. But if there's stuff that's put out there to the community that wants looking at, yeah, then that's of interest to us all. And we should analyse it, look at it, and we're all welcome to come to our own conclusion. But we
don't call names.
Let me finish. We shouldn't be told what is within that paper. And what annoys me is what we were told what was within that paper is patently false. Yeah? Patently false within the paper.
That's scary.
What's ether?
That's my question.
Because that's all this is just diversions away. Right? What is it? Report it. What is it?
Well, you can't validate it through the scientific method, but let me give you a hypothesis.
Yeah, that was classic, wasn't it? That was unsolicited, by the way. That was unsolicited, by the way. He just brought that out himself. It's not science. Well, we already know that. That's not the question. What is it? Yeah, you keep on saying it's not science. We're not charging you with it's science or not. We're charging you to tell us what the hell it is without contradicting yourself with every other breath. Since you're going to be the spokesman, right? Try not to contradict yourself. Maybe things will go smoother. My word.
That was an intelligent man defending Bob Nodell against Nathan. And that was reality dawning, hence the contradiction in statements. I love Mike Kavanaugh, but analyze the statements. And what is he saying? You see his brain ticking, that you could prove it. Yeah. How could you prove it if it was part of the physical world? But we haven't got anything yet. Why haven't we got anything yet? Because we've not even demonstrated it being part of the physical world. That's why he makes the contradictory statement. He understands the position, Mike. Yeah. He wants to do it because I said this is a way of understanding that is ingrained in our history, this ether. It's there. It's something to hold on to. It explains stuff. It's our dark matter. It's our dark energy for us guys. Yeah. It gives you the illusion that you understand something. It doesn't. And that statement, to me, is something on the cuff that is your own a logical, honest man processing that situation. You might be able to, but we can't yet because we've not. The reality why? Because we've not even defined it. And that comes back to QE's question. What is ether?
And everything besides that is just incoherent sidebar. It's just diversionary tactics. Some of it incoherent. Just, and the diversionary tactics are themselves belly laughers. I mean, if you listen to that Friday presentation, how in the world can you come away from that not just shaking your head? What the hell is going on out here? I mean, how can you do that?
That's the point, diversionary tactics. And I think we've dealt with two now. We've dealt with sunlight analogy, how it challenged scientific method, and how it supposedly could show with a... Yeah, and we went through that. So I won't go... And now we've dealt with this one, which was, to me, the bigger one. It wasn't Jeremy making a hypothesis up on the spot that could show how the scientific method could be proven wrong. It was something that was showing a citation they had. I think we've been through that, and that isn't the case. Not as strong an argument as it was purported to be. In fact, it's a very weak argument that destructs itself at the end. Take some of the statements in there out of context, then you could maybe support the statements made by Jaron and Whitsitt. If you read the full document, that's not, I don't think, sustainable as an argument. We've dealt with two kinds of side rebuttals, distractions, and I think we've battered both of them away as not relevant and not worthy of continuance of these sorts of arguments. I'd go back to the first two questions. Does science prove things? And fundamentally, is Nathan a scammer? Where we should stick.
Is that where you should stick? There's some other claims out there. We're still waiting for the definitions of those terms, including a few of them. Electrifa and electripa. I want that. Electrifa and electripa. I want that.
Yeah. And that's why I said just those two, and I didn't include what is ether there specifically, because you know, if they want to go and show what ether is, go ahead and demonstrate it, and I'll listen. As I've said earlier, I won't instantly close my ears or anything. I'll listen to the evidence you present. But the two things on the table, I think, and it's fundamental for us to continue, is does the scientific method prove anything? Because you guys have double speaked and contradicted yourselves. It does, it doesn't, etc., etc. And if it doesn't, how the hell are we going to convince each other of the truth? What methodology are we? I know Witzit's got his logical framework. I would suggest those minds that came up with the logical framework of the scientific method were way ahead of myself, Witzit, and many other great IQs out there that came up with these things. We stand on the shoulders of giants sometimes, and this methodology is philosophy. It is the application of taking humanity out of anything we're trying to do, to make it empirical, to give us the best truth we can. You know, so I don't know what new framework which it uses and applies to things, but again, that would need to be demonstrated and evaluated, just like the scientific method has been. And that's not the scientific method that QE made up, but there's another thing today that which it's purported and confuses me when we have this methodology, but he says he uses a separate framework, logical framework. I don't know what that is, but that in itself is an outlandish claim that if you're going to cite it as something supportive of your argument, you should at least outline what this logical framework is that you use to support what you say. So that would be a request. If you used it a number of times, could we please see the logical framework that you use to support it and your confidence in these things? I think that should be outlined, because maybe we could all use it. Maybe there's something there we could learn from. So could we please see this logical framework?
Can I shout out a super chat?
Yes.
Well, is that a reasonable request, Betty? I know you don't like commenting, but
I thought I left a long enough pause.
I thought you was coming in so you could comment on that. Is that a reasonable?
I'm going to go away after this because.
But if we are going to be
some coffee after
I
this.
know. I just want to ask you, if we're going to be subjected to arguments where the evidence is supported by a logical framework, should we be able to see the logical
I will talk
framework?
through you the whole
I
time.
love it.
Every time you say something, I will talk through. Right?
It is a reasonable request.
I think it is.
I think it is too. So let me.
There we go. Thank you very much, Super Chats.
Eurotox Fame, ether proves that you don't need scientific method.
What?
There you go. Ether proves that you don't need the scientific method.
Yeah, you got
and
another
then
one.
He's a smiley face afterward.
I love Theo Megaworthy.
Go ahead, Betty. You got
You
one
can
more.
continue, Adam.
You got one more, Betty.
No, I don't. Oh, here. Okay. Oh, yeah. Theo McAworthy, he says, what's a logical framework? This needs defining.
Don't hold your breath.
Hey, guys.
Yep.
Define it now, please.
No. Who you asking?
You guys.
No, that's not our claim. That was Witzit's claim. He has a logical framework.
I have no, but come on, you guys are the logical ones. You have the framework.
Well, that's his claim.
There are many logical frameworks you can build, aren't they? That's scientific
only one
method
true
being one. Yeah. So this is distinguished from the scientific method because it's there. So I say all I'm asking is, what is this logical framework? That would help me if, when you say I've proved it with my logical framework, yeah, well, let's see what that is so that I can add validity to what you say and understand how powerful a statement it is that it's been proved by your logical framework.
Are you
request.
Are you saying like if A then B, if A not B, like that kind of framework? Is that what you're talking about with the logical framework?
I do not know. This seems to be a replacement of the scientific method, so I hope it's probably a little bit more robust than that. But I don't know what it is. But like I said, its purpose seems to be of equitable substantiability as to the scientific method, or maybe one step below, but maybe not as something as a logical syllogism like you're using there. No, I would hope it's more substantive than that.
You say more substantive than empirical?
No, than a logical syllogism, is what I said.
Oh, well, I mean, what they'd have to build up to it, right? But they got to have some kind. If they're talking about, but I don't even know that logical framework doesn't make. I'm just not putting those two words together to make much sense of it.
Oh no! Oh, the scientific method started out with Baconism, Baconianism, however you want to. You know what I mean? It starts with that over centuries of great minds to develop something that has that we can rely on, that proves or disproves things in such a definitive way, like the scientific method, that we can rely on it, like the way we've argued the minutiae to show what is the science in these things and what isn't. Yeah. If we're going to use a logical framework like the scientific method or the alternative that's being postulated, then it in and of itself is open to scrutiny. And now I'm not privy to this new logical framework, and I'm just asking humbly to see what's being applied to give these guys this definitive statements that they can make. I think I hadn't thought of this, but I think it is a reasonable request that we ask for their logical framework and how they apply it. And
how could they apply logical framework if they don't have any logic? Lying dead.
Neil, that's a cheap. I'll say it as a cheap insult. I'm not saying that. I'm asking.
Hold on, but Adam, it's them. I'm not saying that. They're demonstrating it with this shit. Come on, this is being demonstrated that there's no logic on that side.
I'm not saying that. I'm asking them to provide me with their logical framework of analysis that gives them this assurity of statement. We've got the scientific method. And they're saying they apply a logical framework. And I'm asking what that logical framework is. I'm not making a judgment of something I've not seen. I can't. And I think that's where we're...
Are you implying that they have a new, like you have inductive, deductive, and abductive reasoning? Are you implying that they have a new type?
I'm not implying they have a new anything. I'm implying they cite a logical framework that they use to validate their conclusions. And I'm asking to be privy to that logical framework to see it and hopefully evaluate it, how rigid it is, and what level of confidence it gives me in a conclusion.
You only
what the heck's a logical framework?
Hold on, that's like somebody saying, I'm going to give you a musical framework for this, but doesn't read a stitch of music or don't even know how to play an instrument.
Oh my goodness. Guys, what the heck is a logical framework for the $1 million question?
I don't know. I don't know what their logical framework is, Overlord. That's why I'm asking to be privy to it, to see it. Yeah?
No, I didn't say what their framework is. I said what one is in general.
Well, that's for them to demonstrate. That's not my claim, is it? I didn't. You would have to ask them, or I think Whitsitt specifically, when he says, I use a logical framework, what he means by that.
Well, he's already stated what he means by that.
Could you elaborate?
Well, he stated
that's the information I'm asking for.
He stated the result. He stated the conclusion. Nothing can't exist.
Right. Nothing can't exist, so it must be something.
Yeah.
And light requires a medium for propagation, for either wave or perturbation, or sometimes some kind of pseudo-mechanical action, right? Where one thing affects another thing, or some type of thing like that.
No, he didn't say no.
So-
no,
John,
no.
this is just semantics again. Okay, so once again, I think logical framework, not a logical explanation of something. I'm asking for a framework of how you analyze what you think is logically deduced, because that's what's giving the validity to their conclusions. Or is it just I can construct what I think is a logical statement that is sufficient to prove things?
No. It's based on the logic. Nothing can. If nothing can't exist, then something must exist in all space.
No, you're arguing a single premise here. That's not what I'm saying.
Holy fuck, dude.
I know it's going to hurt this if you're on their side, but go on.
AI's with us.
He's not on any side. I know
No, you're with me, or you're for obsolescence. That's how synthetic comes.
Cool. No, right. So the point I'm making here, there's either a logical framework to analyze everything with, like the scientific method, yeah, or a whole premise of our argument is to construct a logical sentence that's hard to argue with, and that proves things. Well, yeah, that seems to be what I'm arguing against. That's what's been presented to me so far as the emissary. I've not got a logical framework to work with. I've got lots of supposed logical statements.
Right. So how is the scientific method? How is the scientific method a logical framework?
You tell me how it's not.
How? What do you mean?
That's not how it works. You said it was, and I asked you how it is. So you're supposed to tell me.
I'll tell you. I'll tell you. It's based on abductive reasoning and deductive reasoning. The first three steps are abductive reasoning. That is hypothesis construction, observation of natural phenomena. That's 2 steps, but there's actually 3 in there. That's abductive reasoning, and the experiment is deductive. That's how.
Right. So you have logic strings that if the premises are true, then the conclusions follow the necessity, right?
Yep. Now it's
right.
now hold on. It's based the framework, the scientific method's framework is based in logic. However, the results need not be. In fact, it's almost a non sequitur. Follow?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So going back to what I was saying, so the assertion that was on the table is that the ether itself is a logical framework. But how so? It's not a logic string in itself. So there's 2 premises. Well, I don't have to call them premises. Let's just say 2 statements. One is nothing can't exist. So something is everywhere, right? That would generally be wherever there's a there must be something there. It can't be nothing. So that's fine. Let's say that that's true. That doesn't mean that that something does anything necessarily for any other point unless you prove that that does something. So then you must have a second point, which is light is something that requires something in which to propagate. Therefore, the something that's everywhere is the something that light's propagating in. Now, that could be true, but it's not necessarily true from that statement.
Right.
One, you have to prove the premise, and even if you prove the initial premise that light requires propagation, it doesn't prove that the ether, which is what you want to be the propagative medium, is the medium of light.
Correct.
It could be 2 orders higher than light, for all you know.
Correct. Everything you said was correct.
Which is frustrating because, and this is the thing that I've put to people who try to explain it to me, because no one can, to date, explain any of this type of phenomena that they require ether for without using objects as their explanatory power. So, for example, you'll hear an explanation: light's already there, right? So if you take a string, right? And you pull one end of a string, the other end moves. Well, a string is an object, not a medium. Or if you take a pole and you push a pole, the other end moves. Well, again, a pole is an object, not a medium.
Right.
Or if you rotate a pole. So the only thing that has instantaneous action, right, from one point to another, being two differential points in free space, are solid objects. It's the only thing. So the analogy then becomes a wave, right, in water, which has always been the thing that started this to begin with, is they saw interference patterns and they inferred waves, because waves can make similar patterns in water. But the problem is, you then claim, well, the light's already there, right? And you say the light is there because the light is the water. But the problem with that is that if you begin a wave at one end of the water, the other end of the lake is not immediately affected.
Correct.
There's a duration of time to where the effect passes to the next space, then passes to the next space, and then passes to the next space. So it's a faulty analogy, and it's actually a first cause fallacy. It's very faulty logic. And I'm not personally going to fault Whitsitt for creating it, because he obviously didn't create it. He just learned it somewhere else and didn't scrutinize it properly, because it's bankrupt on so many levels, because you're trying to say that light's already there and that light's not either a wave nor a particle, but then you're explaining that it's the undulations of the water in your analogy reaching the other end, and then you're claiming that it's already there. It's not already there. The wave takes time to reach the other shore.
Yeah.
The only thing that doesn't take time to reach the other shore is a solid object. It's that simple.
Yeah, but
so I'm guessing the result must be that light's a solid object and we're just walking around in one big world of solidity. I just don't get it.
Yeah, but he followed that with saying that he had never made the wave analogy, and light's not a wave or a particle. So you forgot. Now, he did say that stuff beforehand, but his second part of his statement I just mentioned to you. So if you say that to him, he's going to tell you that he never said that light was a wave. Follow?
Well, look, if you never specifically claim that it's a specific wave, yet you claim that it does everything that waves do, then it doesn't really matter what you call it. I mean, you could call it purple snasselfrass for all I care.
That's correct.
Right. Well, let's take a
look. I'm not critiquing Whitsitt specifically here. I'm critiquing the entire argument from anyone who makes it, because I dealt with people long before Whitsitt started populating this idea. And one of the rhetorical arguments that's used is light's not a wave or a particle, and then immediately followed by this statement is a wave isn't a thing. A wave is something, what it does, not what it is. Okay, that's fine. But in your analogy of the water and the already being there and it undulating, you're describing a wave. So you're saying it's not a wave nor a particle, but you're describing it as a wave. So that's disingenuous.
Yep.
At best.
Or
erroneous.
I put the argument up on a slide, the initial argument. That's guns a-blazing right out of the gate, argument for the ether. Here we come, world. This is the argument for the ether. So this is it. We have electromagnetic waves. That I put light in a vacuum there because that was his example for this statement, but I digress. I'll start over. We have electromagnetic waves, that's light in a vacuum, we can show, and it either has a medium, that's ether, that it's waving through, or it's waving through nothing, which is an asinine claim. Then he exampled that statement with, I can shoot a laser, that's light, through a vacuum, and it gets to the other side. 10 days later, light is not a particle or a wave, and it's already there. That's the medium ether. It doesn't need a wave to move through it. So he's contradicted himself twice, saying light's a wave, then it's not a wave, and then saying the ether is needed for that wave to travel through, but it doesn't need a wave to move through it. This is the colossal clusterfuck contradiction of all time.
So he's contradicted 60.
Yep. That's what you got. AI.
Well, yeah, and if you go back to the lake analogy, right, where there's water on both sides of the shore, right? So you could say, oh, well, it's already there, but what you can't call that lake standing still a wave. So if light is a wave, right, then you can't just say the lake standing still is light. Because you wouldn't call the still shore of the other lake a wave. You would create a wave on one side, and then later when it reaches the other side, you say, oh, the wave reached this side. You wouldn't say the lake reached this side. So I want to be clear for everyone, and it's annoying me to no end. This is a semantical, illogic argument, period. End of story, wrap a bow on it, and take a dump on it. Okay, if anybody creates a stream about me, right, and tries to debunk what I just said, I mean, I'm going to take 2 dumps on them because good luck trying.
I'm just going to tell you that he's going to take your he's already done it because Flatsoid brought that up about water waves and light, and he said, no, I never said that. Just saying.
Yeah, fair. Look, I got nothing against anyone personally, but when you start taking logic, right, and putting duct tape on it so you can fold it backwards in on itself and roll it up into a ball and try to bounce it around so nobody can catch what you're doing, I mean, it gets annoying.
Right.
Welcome to the party.
This is the party right here. I've been trying to stress to everyone the party right here. You got to go off the actual argumentation for his point, and this was it. I didn't make it up. I wrote it down word for word. So there's no misunderstanding. This is it right here. You got to explain this. You got good luck. Because like I said, you got 2 contradictions, violations of the law of non-contradiction in this little heap of horseshit.
If you build your entire logical framework off of contradictions, what do you actually have?
Nothing. So this is actually the game right here. Let's get back to this. We want some answers to this. That's it. I don't need to go any further. Of course, there's many contradictions below that, like for a couple hours. But I really don't need to go there. I just need to go right to the root. And this is the root. This is where it all came out. I know where Adam's coming from. He said logical framework. Yeah, well, we want to see that. But first, we need to have a reconciliation. We need to have an intervention on this nonsense right here. Agreed? Is that unreasonable?
Yeah, I think just on that point, intention between me, you know, it's been nicely shown the different. I'm asking for a methodology based, which is a logical frame. What I think I overlord to.
Hey, speak in the mic. Get closer to the mic.
Sorry, I pushed it back. Sorry to get. And what Overlord's going through is going through the individual nonsense, which is claimed to be logical, and that is ultimately frustrating. And that's hence the purpose of my request, Overlord. Yeah, there's got to be some overguiding purpose other than construction of what looks logical. Yeah, and there has to be other rules over that. You can't just make one logical statement and strap it onto another one necessarily. Yeah, there has to be a framework even for that. And those were the foundations I'll say, for the scientific method. It is philosophy and logic applied to give man a way of giving determination to man without his bias. That's it's kind of function within cause and effect. That's all the effort was about. Now these guys seem to have gone to. It must be an equivalent amount of effort because it's got an equivalent amount of merit in terms of validity. And all I'm asking is to see this. And I know that's a little bit tongue-in-cheek, but that's the reality of where we're at, because this seems to be a supportive bit of evidence when they rebut us. So I ask in all honesty, please demonstrate this logical framework.
It's a reasonable request because it hasn't been articulated. We are taking stabs at it because of what was said, but we want to hear it out of the horse's mouth. What is the logical framework first? Then put the logic, put your statements, premises, conditional statements, whatever you have into that logical framework, and let's see what spits out at the end. Would that be a better way to say it?
Yeah, because that's the fair and honest way. I can't, as the emissary, how can I appraise what they're saying if I don't understand the standards that they're saying and that they're applying it to?
Yes.
They've clearly got their own set, and I'm just requesting what those standards are so that I can at least challenge the validity of what they're saying, or saying, actually, that's brilliant.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
We should all take this on board. But in ignorance, Neil, in ignorance, I can't, in all honesty, critique it because I can't see it to critique. So I sit in ignorance and I ask for them to provide their methodology that gives them the assurity of their speech.
Very well articulated. So get on with it. We're waiting. I think we're going to be waiting a long time. It's not going to happen.
I'm not expecting anything to pop up in chat.
Oh, I haven't been looking at chat. That's a good point.
I don't read chat anymore. It'll drive you insane.
Well, I don't know. I'll sing this one out there for anyone. There's this rhetorical device called "I can wave my hand, but I can't hand you a wave." Right? But if you go to a lake and you make a wave, it'll take a while to get to the other side. So I can send a wave across the lake to you. Right?
Yes.
Right? So the rhetorical device fails when it actually tries to be applied to the analogy proper that they're attempting to use to explain the necessity of the ether as a propagative medium for a wave-like behavior that they call light, but they call the medium at rest light. So how could it be both the cause and the effect?
Can't. I caught him in that. If you remember the first presentation I had, that was back a ways. I caught them with that little problem. Let me see if I can't go grab it. Because
that's what when we were doing the weather today, that was generally the point I was asking. Is the ether luminiferous substance? I can't do it because you've got it in my head.
I know I did.
I'm not buying. Right? Is it a luminiferous substance, which by definition is a medium for light to perturbate in? That's what it is. Therefore, by definition, it is light. It's just a rippling of light. Yeah? Or is it a substance for everything to manifest into? That is also rotating. I don't know why. See, this is the other confusion. If we're going to go, even if it's just the luminiferous ether, which is a medium, why is it rotating? What purpose does that serve? Is it that's rotating? How will we prove it? But if it's not, and it's the medium that everything manifests through, i.e. the mind of God, for me, as far as I can see its equivalent, the will of God, I should say. If that's the case, why is that rotating? I can understand like you making the link between the solar movement, the lights in the sky, if it's a luminiferous ether, and therefore having to have it move at 15 degrees an hour. But if it's a medium for everything to manifest in, all of reality, physicality, the matrix, if you will, why does that need to rotate? And how do I cope with the thing that I'm manifesting in moving at 15 degrees an hour, the sodding thing? That must affect me a little bit. That's just annoying, isn't it? As my body repositions without me knowing.
All right. This is what. Sorry about that, Adam. I wanted to Yeah, thanks. I wanted to dovetail.
No, but
Hold on a second, Adam. I wanted to dovetail with what AI was trying to portray up there. AI, you still with us?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got it on screen right now. This is when the nonsense first come out, I caught him. And I knew I'd catch him in this. Now, I could go for quite some time, like I said in the presentation. That was about a month and a half ago. But this is what I said. Which one is the non-manifested medium? The electromagnetic waves or ether? That was back when they were saying that light was electromagnetic waves. They're not saying that now. So the question is, which one is the non-manifested medium? Because like you said, and I even have written here, a wave is not what something is, it's what a medium does. Therefore, electromagnetic waves being waves must be the medium. Where's the ether? Is it a non-manifested medium somewhere else? Moreover, don't electromagnetic waves manifest? Isn't electromagnetic waves a description of what something is? But haven't we already established above that a wave is not what something is? See, I caught him right away. I said this wave is not what something is. Like I said, this just train wrecks him right here with this statement. So,
John, just stick on that one.
Right.
I want Overlord's opinion. So logically, yeah, then everything has to be a electromagnetic matrix that things are rippling through and appearing from. If you follow that conclusion logically of what John just said, do you know what I mean? If you follow it through, it leaves you with nothing other than an electromagnetic matrix, which you still don't know any more about, can't test or prove. It's just where you dump all of your problems.
Well, no matter what, you end up regressing back to the point where everything tangible and physically expressed requires, right, a next ordinate to create it. So you always end up with the next step where there's a boundary between the physical and the metaphysical. And so then you have the same question that you've always had, which is, how does the metaphysical affect the physical? By what means? By what mechanism? By what conduit? By what force? By what energy?
Yeah,
you end up with the same question at every stage.
It's a regression fallacy, and that's why I said ultimately what they're trying to describe is the will of God, because you might go, oh, it's like I just described, everything's therefore electromagnetic in its manifestation.
Yes.
What does that mean? You can't prove it. It's just nonsense because you've supported it with electron.
It's not
logically.
It's not an infinite. It's not an infinite regress, though. It's a repeat regress. You're immediately going to repeat the regression.
But ultimately, to the point of what you're trying to ultimately define is how God created reality for us, and that to me is the point of, I mentioned it, point of humility. Respect what you can and can't know, and that's the issue here. That to me, that this seems to be where we're trying to get to. And for those, and I say this respectfully, but for those that have bothered to read and learn and go into great detail, you realize what you can and you can't know. And like we went through with thermometers today, realize what you can and you can't know in all of that information.
Right.
It's really, and that to me appears to be where genuinely these claims are trying to be made within the will of God, within the substance of creation, which for me, humbly, I don't expect to know until I'm dead. And I don't want to know. That's part of the majesty of creation. There's certain things that I
What
know.
makes you think you're going to know when you die?
Well, I know that are withheld from me, Neil. Do you know what I mean? That I know I'm not going to know. Don't waste my time there. That's what I'm long-windedly saying.
Yeah, but they're making they're making definitive they're making definitive claims though. That's
right.
where it's not going. Go ahead.
Right, but it's not just definitive.
Go ahead, AI.
It's not just definitive in the sense like, okay, we know something about the physical world. They're making claims about we know something about the transition between the metaphysical to the physical. Now, this is actually psychologically very powerful. Now, this is one of the reasons why heliocentrism took on so much in the church, is because the Big Bang, when you look at the Big Bang, you look at heliocentrism and all everything about it, and you reverse engineer it backwards, you end up with a first cause problem.
Right.
And if you look at the logic of it, you end up with the necessity of a immaterial, all-powerful, spaceless, eternal, sentient agent.
Yes.
That's the necessary precedent for the Big Bang.
Yes.
And because of that, people latch onto it because they're like, oh, wow, look, science proved my version of God. Now I must believe this thing because it proves my God. And the ether will be that for many other people as well, where they'll latch onto it because they think it's substantial proof of their religious position. Now, check this out. It's one reason why Ken Wheeler latches onto it, because he is a monist. And the monistic idea is that consciousness and sentience and the revealed concrete reality is all one and the same. So essentially, there is no mind of God beyond us. We are the mind of God, self-rendering the universe together. Right? Now, check this out. Not only is this happening in our community, but concurrently, it's happening in certain physicist realms. Mainstream scientists are starting to, quote unquote, recognize or come to or reach a conclusion that, wait a minute, it's not particles that are, or physical things that are the fundamental unit of reality, it's consciousness itself. Now, are they going to attribute that consciousness to a specific agent deity? No. They're going to try to create a pseudo-materialism with the consciousness to where consciousness is like a self-causing loop for reality, which is what? New Age mumbo-jumbo. So yes, this whole thing is all one big push for the next synthesis of the New World religion, New Age, mumbo-jumbo, monistic. The earth and humans are one big creation loop, and we don't need a separate sentient agent God. And that's why it pisses me off.
And that's why they got a lot of subscribers, and that's why nobody's leaving them.
Well, check this out, bro. So Flat Earth has, in some veins, fizzled a little bit because there's a lot of veterans, right, who have gone through the trench work and know all the arguments and have been through the battles. And now there's a lot of new people who don't know any of that history because it's been robbed from them because the content isn't as readily available as it was for us, right? So they're getting into it where it's almost now at a fad level, right? So it's becoming very popular on other platforms like Twitter and Facebook and other things. And so people are getting these very base level doses of the quote unquote new truth while they're getting a huge load of the synthetic truth, which is where they want all these people to go. So they're taking away their old truth from them, leaving them an empty slate, and then pouring in the new truth they want them to believe. And many, many flat earthers, right, are going to be the cause of these new people, millions upon millions, stumbling over the truth into a new falsehood.
That's scary, man.
Well, it's the same in lots of these truth fields. As we unearth an untruth, as it were, the system seems to be primed for, and people happy to accept. There's an old statement in there: when you stop believing in God, you'll believe in anything. And it's the same. If you look at the mud flood stuff, something that was this great civilization, Tartaria. Now, whilst we can demonstrate that history is a lie, it doesn't mean that the first hypothesis that comes up that agrees with history is a lie means that that's the new truth. There's great analogies between mud flood and ether. We know we're lied to. That's why we're all here. But let's not jump on the next bandwagon. And that's human nature, unfortunately, Overlord. I don't know about you, but people want to know. They want to feel that they're in receipt of knowledge, that they do understand things. So sometimes you'll accept stuff even as a substitute on your way to the next journey, as you do it sometimes. But yeah.
But that's why these shows are so important, because I got into all of that nonsense too. The mud floods and ether and Mickelson Morley, until I came to Flat Earth Debate and QE. That's why I mean you guys have to stay firm on what you're doing.
I think the point and difference is, as I was trying to say there, is there's nothing wrong with saying I don't know. This is a point where I accept my limitations. And as I know he's gone now, Overlord hit on it. The points we're discussing is that intermingling between the physical and the metaphysical. It's what's happening is we're getting claims of what's happening in the metaphysical fundamentally that give us solace in the physical, as if that's real. But we should surely accept that if we're going to describe something in the metaphysical, we know we're making that up. Until, as excuse my dog, until as it was shown in the clip, yes, there is ether. We could do a experiment for ether, but it hasn't been invented yet, and that's the reality. If it is physical, we could do something with ether. So make the claim of what ether is, and let's deal with it. But if all we're going to have is a claim that all of our explanations exist in the metaphysical realm, then we're never going to support it. It is truly just a new religion that fundamentally you have to accept that you will never, ever. It's a religion you go into knowing you will never, ever be given a proof. You need good faith in it. Yeah?
Yeah, you need some good faith in there. Betty!
Yeah.
Oh, there you are. Okay, we're going to wrap things up.
Wow.
How you like that for putting a stop to it?
How do you like them apples?
How you like them apples? How you like them apples, Adam?
I think it's totally sus.
You got rumpus, Adam. Go ahead.
I'm just waiting for Betty to get opinionated. I can't wait when it will arrive in this topic at some point.
Opinionated? Why do you want me to be opinionated?
Because I respect
Men don't
your
like
opinion.
women to be opinionated. They like them to shut up and...
There's a number of nonsenses I've heard from you, so I'll just address it in one sentence. I do like my women opinionated. I like them. Well, and more fundamentally, what is appealing to the eye is not necessarily what is appealing to the touch in the bedroom, Betty.
The lights off then.
My arse.
She
I like
said
curves, girl.
She
Wave
said,
or no wave, lights off in Adam's bedroom.
so she said lights off, Adam.
Nah, I like curves. A woman should be a woman. I'm skinny like a rake. The last thing I want is a woman that looks like me. Huh?
I think that would be a
women have
lot.
got curves.
There would be a lot of bones like smashing into one another.
Oh, brother. Here we go. Right down the poop shooter.
I get these visions, right?
I bet. Tell them to your therapist. Why don't you wind up the show?
I am. But there's no outcome.
All right. So we got a BALLBUSTERS this week too, right? What the heck are we gonna do?
Nice.
Nobody knows.
I know where I'm going Friday.
talk.
Go ahead, John.
I was going to say we could talk about phlogiston cycles and how I could reify them into waves.
Negative.
Yeah, I wonder who would watch that. Ooh, dropped one.
Technically, could you not get a phlogiston wave within a phlogistonated medium?
No, we're not going for that. We're not going for that.
No, because after you've dephlogistonated it, you wouldn't be able to generate the wave. But prior to that, you could.
I'm gonna friggin' mute you.
Deflogistonated what?
What? Yeah, no, don't ask him again, Betty. You're enabling him.
I just want to know that word because I like that word. He makes words up. I like that.
It's not mine, it's John's. So refracted, you say it.
It's not made up. It's brought up from antiquity.
Ah, okay. Dephlogistonated.
No, dephlogistonated. That's what I'm going to do to Adam here in 1 second if he doesn't close his pie hole.
He's going to string you up.
Let's wrap it up, guys.
I think...
Yep, we're going to wrap it up. Final thoughts, Betty.
Yeah, I'm thinking about the stringing up of Adam. Is that a threat that can be like uttered on the internet?
I just want to see him remove this imaginary medium from me. Bring it on.
I have a logical framework for my phlogistonated medium.
All right, there we go. Betty, wrap things up. Take us home.
Take you home.
Take us home.
Take me home.
That's a good song, by the way.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So everybody watch my presentation this Thursday, right? Because the last 10 was not good enough. I need more people out there.
Okay, is that it?
And because it's I'm doing much work with this. It's all scriptural. People can also comment on it. They never do. It seems that I'm so right on the spot that nobody ever wants to correct me or in every way. Funny, huh?
Or you could be out your mind and it ain't worth them to respond.
That's not the case.
Okay.
That's a straw man.
That's a straw man. Is that it?
It's cash quote. Yep, that's it.
That's it. Okay. Well, thanks, guys, for coming to the show. It was spontaneous. I'd like to keep them that way. I really like shows like that. But it's still out there. We're looking for this proof of this fairy tale ether. That's the game. We're not going to get any of it. We're just going to get personal attacks and them train wrecking themselves with every other breath. And like I said, with these opinionated, wandering speculations, we don't need that. We just don't need it here. It's a category error. So I relieved you. So I don't know what you're still doing out here. What are you going to do? Are you going to flood us with wondering, opinionated speculation some more? Is that what's going to happen? Is everyone going to put up with this horse shit? I really like to see where this is going to go. It's not going to go away. I'm going to tell you that right now. It's not just going to go by the wayside. La, la, la. Ha, no, 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 no. That's not going to happen. I don't fall for those silly little wabbit diversions and lack of focus. We're going to keep your friggin' heels to the fire on this one. You better come out with something or get the hell out. It'll probably be something to that effect on Saturday, too. I'll have to think about it. So take it easy, guys. We'll catch you on the flip side. Out.